cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Black and white. It's black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. It's black and white. It's black and white.
Good evening everybody and welcome to the SimGrid, and here we are once again for the final round of the More Female Racers series powered by the SimGrid at the wonderful Misano Laguna Seca. My name is Chaz Dracop. Alongside me in the commentary box once again is Connell Courtney for the final round of the season. And Connell, we've had a fantastic season so far, so much going on. I don't really know where to look for this final one. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much in the same boat as each other. I'm almost watching this I feel a little bit honoured today to actually see the finale. We've seen these ladies, a lot of them coming from very little to no experience prior to this league, in terms of not only ACC but also sim rigs and sim racing in general. So to see some of them, some of the less experienced ladies coming through the pack and getting closer to the front, it really is. It's been great to see the progression, and I've no doubt at Laguna Seca, even though it is a very, very tricky track, I've no doubt that we'll see a lot more improvement from those ladies.
We will indeed, and I think, to be honest, a lot of them are very excited by the fact that as the entire series is gone, I mean, we keep bringing up the point of progression, don't we, Connell? The fact that, there's been so much in the way of improvement from a lot of drivers' parts in this series as well. They've had their co-drivers to really help them through it, and it's just been really exciting to watch in terms of how they get better every week. And, well, I mean, we're looking at Jasmine Akiko here, who, with her teammate Josie, has not really got much to worry about in terms of the championship, but at the same time, there's still improvement there, isn't there?
Yeah, I think Jasmine actually realised you were talking about her, because it looked as though she just stopped right for us. Yeah, exactly. I mean, faultless is how you'd describe Team Cake so far. Of course, winning the first 3 races of 3, 100% winning record, and looking to wrap up the championship this race. Of course, it is the last race of the More Female Racer Series, but I'm certain that it won't be the last we see of these ladies in the sim grid. I hope many of them do decide indeed to join us in future races, and I'd love to see them progress even further within the sim grid. We've seen, of course, as we were just alluding to, the Team Cake team of Akiko and Josie Austin dominate proceedings in terms of race results. They haven't had it all their own way, and it hasn't been dominant victories throughout. They've been run very, very close by other teams, especially that Janetta, which is one to look out for. But yeah, it's been a very, very interesting series. It's one that, it's an inaugural series of this type in this game. New concept, and I think SimGrid really have smashed it out of the park.
Yeah, definitely, and all the fans have been giving it massive support as well. It's been really well received from all sorts of angles in terms of the drivers and the people involved. It's been a hell of a lot of fun, and it's been great to commentate on it as well. To be honest, it's been really, really good fun with just the variation. And as commentators and as broadcasters, when you're not sure who's going to do well in a race and who's going to have a bit of a rough time, the unpredictability in the pace it's the main part of it for me that's made it so exciting. You've got 2 drivers in each car over the course of the race, and you never know who is going to be able to bring the pace, because even the pro drivers as such that these ladies have as their co-drivers, they've shown different sort of characteristics and pace at each track as well, haven't they?
Yeah, and we've seen that. We've seen very, very experienced drivers on behalf of these ladies as their co-drivers, and as you said, Chaz, different tracks suit different driving styles, and we've certainly seen that. We've seen guys like Seb Hanna really, really strong, and maybe struggle for a little bit of pace elsewhere. So yeah, exactly as you say, it just shows the dynamics of this game and how really it is a pure racing simulator. You get to a track sometimes and you just go, you know what, I'm not clicking with this, or it depends what car you've chosen. You go out on a certain track with that car combo, just really depends on whether you click or not, or you can find a comfortable setup. So it really does show how detailed this game is, and we see it with the mixed results and the progression also.
Yeah, that's it. There's a bit of technicality involved in the fact that some of them really do try and improve, but it's easy to push a bit too hard. As I say that, Jessica Martin having a bit of a moment there. Yes, Ritwit, I know the frame rate is having issues, I'm afraid, mate. Like I've said in my comment previously, I'm having a bit of inconsistency with my connection, as I can guarantee. I was very angry on the phone to Vodafone after the previous broadcast, but not everything can be sorted instantly with that, I'm afraid. I'm very pleased to say, though, that we actually have one of our championship leaders in the box with us. Josie, it's good to speak to you. I imagine you're very confident ahead of this evening, are you?
Good evening. No, we never are. Every win so far this season has been a surprise, a pleasant surprise. And we have to take that mindset into the final race. We work hard, we show up, we try and stay consistent, and that's all that really matters.
And what do you make of this circuit? I mean, it's far from simple. It's quite a technical one for the fact it's not a long circuit. You know, there's not 1,000,001 corners here like you do get on other Grand Prix circuits on the calendar, but it's not a simple one to get right, is it? Because the curbs are really aggressive and there's quite a lot of oscillation as well.
Yeah, and particularly of interest, the track is a lot tighter, which means that the Aston's straight line speed is less of an advantage around here. So we're expecting that some of the more nimble cars are going to be closer to us just based on, you know, pure vehicle performance. And of course we'll still have the same big battles that we've been having with Alice Horton and Jess Martin the whole season through. And Anna Luisa Bello as well in the Mercedes, who's really coming through, did a super performance last week at Misano, so can't counter out either.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, we were just saying there at the top of the broadcast the fact that the unpredictability is one of the main parts of this series that makes it such a joy to watch. And I imagine it's fun to be a part of, is it? The fact that you don't know how good somebody's going to be each week that you go into a race.
Yeah, the amount of improvement that's come from the entire field has been staggeringly good, and I'm really proud of everyone who's been taking part because they've all picked up so much lap time. It's been amazing. And yeah, really, we don't go into these races with the mindset that we can predict our position. It's not productive to do that. It's very much about keeping your head down. And yeah, damn, I'm really excited to get this race going. And even though it's the end of the season, you know, just raring to go for this race.
Well,
Josie, sorry, I had a question in mind. Sorry for jumping in there, Charles. Just before you go, Josie, in terms of the approach for this race, do you have everything mapped out in terms of the championship? If second place in the championship finishes here, then I need to finish here, or is it just it's another race?
No, we have not done the maths. The only thing that I do know, because you told us last week, is that we need to finish 10th to guarantee our result. We've done nothing else. We don't care. It's all about just doing what we have to do, showing up and making a good race. That's it.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing how you get on tonight, Josie, and fingers crossed that you can wrap up the title. I'm sure that you'll still give it everything once the lights go out. But good luck from all of us here, and we'll speak to you very soon.
Thank you very much. Have a good race, all of you.
Cheers. Josie Austin then, current championship leader for Cake Racing. It's GZR Cake Racing, isn't it? But that Aston's been fantastic all season, really. I mean, like she said, she didn't really go into any of the races expecting to be a winner in any of them, but you know, they've got the job done and just done it on the night, and that's the thing. You need to be in it to win it, and that's what I keep saying, isn't it, Connell?
Yeah, I think I was curious to see their approach, and I think their approach is pretty correct, especially for a series like this with newcomers. I see people getting very, very crowded there coming out of pit lane. But yeah, I mean, a lot of times, how should we say, novice or less experienced drivers get too focused on the external factors, i.e. stuff that they can't control, you know, other people's pace, you know, track conditions, etc., etc. And it really plays a lot on their mind when realistically it's just how fast can you go and how can you maximize your own performance. And the way Josie was replying to our questions, I believe they've got it dialed in mentally, in the sense that they're really just focused on their own driving, and they're going to go to their pace, and they're not going to take liberties as such with their car, and they'll see what happens in the end. So I think, yeah, good approach from the GZR Team Cake girls.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly is. Well, what we're going to do, just while the drivers get onto their first qualifying laps, I'm just going to talk you around a very quick lap of Laguna Seca on board with the wonderful Ginetta G55. Here we do have the actual adverts. Bear with me 1 second. Apologies. It's this one that we want. Wonderfully sized, as you can see by me there. So here we go then. Down over the start-finish line, over the top of the crest. It's very difficult to get this right lap after lap. Onto the brakes. You're wanting to get the car pitched in a little bit early towards the left-hander. It's double apex, so you've got to go in a bit deep into the first section, let it run out wide, and then get back on the power. Into turn 3, you've got to take a late apex here. There's just such an urge to turn in all the time. Be careful you don't hit the dust on the apex and on the exit. And that's one of the things these drivers have to think about here. You need to try and carry as much speed through that right-hander as well as possible. And it is very easy to get it wrong on this lap because of the fact there's not much runoff anywhere on this circuit. Through the left-hander there. The camber really helps you through there. It's a massive help. Onto the power. It's a blind apex for the left-hander up the hill. Massive sausage curb on the inside. A little bit of runoff on the right-hand side. But, yeah, it's, again, not the most ideal of corners. Blind entrance into the very world-famous corkscrew. 2 bits of camber that really help you out. But over the crest, it's far from helpful. A left and then a right. It's very difficult to get right, ironically. Long left down the hill, again late apex, and look at the amount of lock that Elleric's put on there through the right-hander. Again, the camber really helps you here. Almost a blind apex once you get onto the brakes into the final corner. Get the car slowed down, use all of the runoff area on the right-hand side, and get it done nice and smoothly, and then towards the line. But as we were saying, Connell, or as I said a moment ago, far from an easy lap round here. It's not the longest lap in the world, but it certainly is a technical one.
Yeah, I was just studying that lap actually from Alec, trying to take notes because I participated in the SimGrid's GT4 Madness here at Laguna last week, last Thursday it was, and in fact our broadcast colleague, who's our pit lane reporter, Michael Hamill, he was also in the race, so I was studying Alec's lines there to see what I could gain. Yeah, very interesting track. The sausage curbs make it very, very difficult to stay consistent. I know I've seen a lot of mistakes, really just maybe running a little bit too tight and then bam, hitting the sausage curbs, really upsetting the car. So yeah, it's a fun track. It's okay. It's not massively technical in terms of one lap, but over the course of a race, it is very difficult to stay consistent.
Yeah, I've done a lot of laps around here on other sims before. I've not actually driven it in a Assetto Corsa Competizione, but even in other sims as well, I know that this is a very deceiving track because you look at it on the pictures and you think, oh, looks like quite a nice wide open circuit that, and then you see the track map and you think, oh, it's just a square with a little bit of a hook on the end of it. But no, when you don't see the oscillation that we see there as Verena May chucks the little Porsche down the corkscrew, it's that left-hander as well, you know, because as you saw there, it goes down a really steep drop and then it levels out almost, and then you've got another drop on the apex of the corner. It's so difficult, especially with the car compressing at the bottom of the hill. It can really spit you out, and if you hit the curb as well, it upsets you and you run wide on the right-hand side. It's, yeah, it's a very, very, very big challenge around here. Josie Austin at the moment is fastest in the Aston Martin. Jessica Martin in the Aston Martin is now down to third, actually. Denise Pope has just gone second in the Wild Things Porsche, number 79. Nicely done there. Verena May goes fourth. Gemma Moore is sixth as Alana De Potter just displaces her. Elizabeth Chan is partway round a lap at the moment. Really chucking that thing into there. That's very, very feisty stuff. Up towards the corkscrew. Look at that. The braking zone over a crest does not make this corner any easier. And as you can see there, you just go in that tiny bit too late. And you're going to have to pay for a new splitter. Oh, you're going to have to pay for a lot more than that right now if you're Elizabeth Chan. That's not an ideal moment for her there. But Lauren Jubb in the McLaren. A little bit late on the brakes there. It's a bit of a strange one to call in terms of what the best car would be around here, Connell, because you think if you've got a rear-engined car, you know, going over that crest into the corkscrew, and then you've got a lot of these sort of mid-speed corners, especially in this section here, this fast right-hander, you've got to think that's surely just going to be asking for trouble with the rear end of the car coming around.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks where you're not gonna have, no matter how good you are, you're not gonna have the best feeling throughout the whole of the track, no matter what car you're in. That makes it very, very difficult and very, very competitive. We're seeing, of course, now the Porsches and the McLarens, or excuse me, the Mercedes now fighting up near the sharp end, a lot closer to those two Astons. And we're seeing times going in as we see the dreaded
Oh
corkscrew
dear.
claiming more victims. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing this with Louisa Bello, we're seeing a lot of them now really starting to come into their own as the season progresses, starting to challenge the three Astons we've seen so often at the front of qualifying. It was 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3 in the past 3 rounds in terms of qualifying. It really was seriously impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, when we go cast our minds back to the Nurburgring, the very first round, it was the 3 Aston Martins and then absolutely everyone else. Whereas, well, if we take Josie Austin out of the equation, look how close those times are. So it's great to see the different manufacturers starting to get dialed in. But Josie Austin has come on leaps and bounds now, you have to say. I mean, she just grew so much over the course of this season. Really, really grown in confidence. She was actually the sort of the third of the qualifiers of those top 3 Astons in the early stages of this season. Started to gain a bit of confidence in the races, realized almost a mental thing where she realized that she could run with the 2 in front over race distance, and now she's really come into her own, and that's a very, very significant gap to the rest of the group. But Martin is still there. Martin, of course, is a fast qualifier. So for Josie Austin right now, if she can snatch a pole position when she hasn't looked as strong in qualifying as she has in races, it'll be a very strong point for this Cake Racing team.
Yeah, that's it. You really drill home the advantage there with the final race meeting and just say, look, we're not messing about. We can still stick this car on pole position. Anna Luisa Bello and her teammate Sheldon Scott Muscat have been one of the interesting ones for me this season in that Mercedes. The only Mercedes on the grid. And they've always been up there, haven't they? Around the top 5 and always competitive. And there's other cars similar. I mean, look at Ava de Andrade and her teammate Seb Handler in the very exciting number 12 Ginetta. This thing's been one of the real highlights of the series for me. We've got Tilana Nell as well, still in the touring car-esque BMW M4. Not out on circuit at the moment, 5.2 seconds off the pace. Sarah Moore is still in the pit lane as well, in a bit of a different livery this week. We have Andy the Lab out on track in the pink Aston Martin. There are a couple of pink Aston Martins and the pink McLaren there, just ahead. But that is Alethea Book, just behind. Thea Musanti. And a bit of hindrance there from Andy the Lab just in front. And Alethea needs to adapt to that. She's had a different livery each week on that Aston, I think. Connell?
Well, if nothing, it's creative.
Yeah.
I can't make a new livery. I can barely make a livery as it is now for a team of our own. But yeah, we've seen these Astons really look to be the car to beat. So
that was Lauren
again,
Jill.
How many? Hello. I just wanted to say hello. Don't want to give you. Well, I mean, the agreed social guidelines now is was it bump elbows now? They were bumping noses there in those cars. But yeah, I mean, we've seen so many mistakes here at the corkscrew already, and you just have to think, even though it's qualifying over the course of a race distance, surely this could actually dictate a lot of people's race, that corkscrew.
Yeah, it will do. It's that easy to get it wrong. You know, the car's already rotating, so you can easily just put a little bit too much power on as you go over the top of the hill. And once you sort of recompress and the front of the car grips and the rear doesn't, if those rears are spinning, don't forget all these cars rear-wheel drive, then it will very quickly rotate on you. Just looking at drivers that are improving on their times at the moment, Alethea Book is 1/10 of a second up at the moment after the first sector. Elizabeth Chan, 4/10 up here coming into the final corner. She's had a great final sector. She's lost a few tenths there, but she's gained them on exit again. So let's see what she gets. She's 3/10 up as she comes to the line. And is it an improvement? Apparently, but she didn't move up the order. Emma Richards is much, much faster through that first section on this lap. She's 9/10 up just after the first sector, so a bit wide there into the left-hander, but if she can keep that first sector in the back of her mind and crack on with it for the rest of it, then she'll be alright. She's 3/10 up now. She's lost a bit of time through that left-hander. That's a better exit by the look of it, because she's now up to 4/10 quicker. So this is going to be an improvement if Emma can keep this thing on the black stuff for now. Onto the brakes then, into the corkscrew. As Connell said, it catches everyone out. Nice and sedate round there, just keeping it safe, but she's a second up now. 1.1, 1.2, 1.5 seconds up now, so she's clearly carried a lot more speed through there into the final section of the lap in the Team Vikings Aston Martin. Just 2 more corners to go. Plenty of camber helping you there through the right-hander. 1.5 seconds quicker. Onto the brakes, into the final corner. Needs to just make sure she carries some good apex speed here. Oh, a bit of a wobble on exit. She's losing a few tenths, but she's still going to gain about 1.5 seconds there. And that moves her up to 15th position overall. So good improvement there from Emma Richards. And I mean, she won't mind me saying, I'm sure, but Emma was one of the ones that was really struggling in the first few rounds. Obviously still getting used to the sim, but she's done a fine job there on that lap, Connell. That was a good improvement.
Yeah, and it's great to see. And again, we've I don't know if Michael can give us the gaps from Nurburgring throughout the series in terms of first to last, in terms of qualifying. But I mean, 5.2 separating the whole grid is definitely the closest that we have seen throughout the series. And again, we made the point from Nurburgring onwards. We've stressed this point that these ladies will get quicker. Michael's just informed us in chat. Elaine Gerber was 11 seconds off at Nurburgring. She's 5.2 off, so she's more than half. She's halved her gap to the front. Also, Andy the Lab was 9 seconds off at Nurburgring, now 4.7. So yeah, we're really, I mean, this is really impressive stuff, and it's so easy to get disheartened. You look at the times, where am I going to find 11 seconds? And even though 5.2 seconds is a long, or is a big gap, relatively speaking, when we're talking about SimGrid, because I think a second and a half generally covers the entire pro split of the Sprint Cup and qualifying. But these are very experienced drivers. When it comes to 5.2 seconds, I mean, you've already shaved off 6 seconds there in a matter of a couple of races, and a couple of races isn't really that much experience. I mean, 3-4 hours driving, that isn't that much. So the rapid rate of improvement is something that's really impressed me, and 5.2 from first to last at the minute, that's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it is nice to see, and I'm sure that if we do have another season, they will be back for more. Like you say, it's just that ability to get disheartened very quickly when you see that gap and you just think, well, I've just managed to, there's a car off there. I think that was Denise Pope. It was. She manages to get it back to the pits, but yeah, like you say, Connell, it's easy to get disheartened, and a lot of these drivers have shown great determination and continued on.
Yeah, so, Chaz, sorry, I just want to shout out Michael's showing the rate of improvement. I shout out a couple of the women, but I want to shout them all out because this is significant improvement and they deserve it. So Emma Richards, 9.7 seconds off at Nurburgring, now 5.1. Tiana Nell, 9.4 seconds off and now 5.2 seconds off. Marion Edwards, 8 seconds off at the Nurburgring, now only 2.6 seconds off pole position. Lauren Job, 4.3 to 2.3, and yes, it's a shorter lap, but in terms of gaps, it's quite similar. We've seen in races prior, it's quite similar. Gap-wise in terms of in comparison to Nurburgring, because it's such a technical track.
Yeah, I think the relative pace between the drivers has definitely closed up. We're just looking at Alice Horton now, who's coming out the final corner, and there's only Alice, Marion Edwards and Andy Lab that are out on track at the moment, so it looks like Josie Austin's got pole unless Alice Horton can pull something very impressive out. She does improve but stays in third position. So there you go then, Josie Austin making her intentions clear here with pole position. out of that qualifying session there. Don't forget as well, everybody, this is a 90-minute race this time, as opposed to a 1-hour race. So we've got an extra half hour. The female drivers will be doing 2 stints each. So they'll be doing the first and third stints. And then their, in inverted commas, pro teammates will be doing the middle stint in the race. So we're going to have some, not just the usual one driver then the other here, Connell, but if the co-driver that we've seen, you know, they're usually quicker. That's just, it's just as is this season. If they are quicker and they close up gaps and get their car into a stronger position than it might have been in the first stint, it's how these ladies then come back from that and get some pace out of the car in the end to hold that position, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a new experience for these ladies too, to do 2 stints. And anyone who has done endurance racing, let it be real racing or sim racing, will know that, you know, you do your stint and you sort of just, you mentally shut off and all the adrenaline flowing through you. It does, you get the adrenaline dump. And I know for me, and in my racing experience on motorbikes, is that I actually had to do my post-session debrief within 30 minutes of me having been out on track, or else I'd just not do it at all, because I'd be straight into the back of the van away for sleep because the adrenaline dump was that severe. So yeah, it does drain you, especially mentally, and then to have to go back out again, it is tough. So we may see quite a few more mistakes in the second stint, and again, that just comes down simply to experience. Yeah,
definitely. And the thing is, not a lot really beats experience when it comes to this sort of thing. But as you can see there, everybody, or you could see a little bit better a second ago, we have 4 Aston Martins at the front of the field. Josie Austin alongside Jessica Martin on the front row. Alice Horton and Gemma Moore line up on row 2 in the other Aston Martins there with the stripes down the middle. We then have Ana Luisa Bello in the Mercedes alongside Denise Pope, her teammate. Sorry, Denise Pope is... who is Denise's teammate? I can never remember who Denise's teammate is. We'll bring that up. Oh, it's Dove. Dove. I keep forgetting. There's a couple of them that I keep forgetting, I won't lie. Verena May lines up 7th on the grid. Alicia Book in the Aston Martin, the bright pink Aston Martin on the left of your screen, will line up alongside Verena. Then we have Ava de Andrade down in 9th position in the Ginetta. That's quite interesting, so keep an eye on that Ginetta for coming through the order, because Ava's been quick and so has Seb Handler. Alana Day Potter is just there behind in the McLaren. Then it's the other McLaren of Lauren Jubb. The 2 McLarens sticking together there in the middle of the field, with Marion Edwards just behind in 12th position. Then it's Elizabeth Chan in 13th, ahead of Andy the Lab's very bright pink and I believe I'd say it's gold Aston Martin. Then we have Emma Richards, who improved partway through the session that we followed in qualifying. Tilana Nell lines up 16th on the grid in the BMW M4. And then we have Elaine Gerber and Danny Erdman lining up in 26th place. And from what we were saying before, Danny Erdman is going to do this race solo, because his female driver, his co-driver Sarah Moore, is short notice unavailable apparently, so he'll receive a penalty as his teammate isn't doing a stint. That's automatically applied by a set of Corsa Competizione, so we can't do anything about that. But he didn't do qualifying, just as a sort of respectful thing, and it's quite nice to see that respect, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, it's great sportsmanship. I like to see that. He's been unfortunately left with this dilemma, but yeah, still committing to the race and still trying to get points for the team. So good sport, and hopefully has a good run to as a karma for his good sport.
Yes, it is indeed. And right then, we're ready to go then for 90 minutes of racing at Laguna Seca. We have Josie Austin on pole position. Jessica Martin is eager to get this underway, as you can see there from the white, black and blue Aston Martin on the right hand side. Around the final corner, when's Josie going to gun it? She's going to wait quite a long time. Look at that, Jessica Martin is ready to go. Josie's just toying with her there, just trying to say, right, you ready? You ready? And the final round of more female races powered by the SimGrid is underway. The 4 Aston Martins at the front roar into life. Denise Pope gets a good start on the outside in the Porsche. Ana Luisa Belo looking down the inside of, I believe, that is Gemma Moore. Gemma's really lost out there. She's on the outside. Bit of contact in the midfield there as it all checks up. We'll look a bit further back, see if there's any shenanigans going on. Looked like Marion Edwards was nearly making contact with Lauren Jubb there, but it all looks absolutely fine at the moment. Bit of side-by-side stuff ahead there. This is Ava D'Andrade just trying to make her way back through the order. Alethea Book side-by-side with her as well. A little bit of dust on the outside there by Ava, but relatively clean start, to be honest, on that one. But Josie Austin has actually dropped down to 4th there, Connor. We've just missed that.
Yeah, maybe it looks like she didn't get a good driver there. Maybe it was squeezed out wide and couldn't get a drive because there was a car in front. Not entirely too sure, but that's okay. I mean, an hour and a half still to go. Just composure. Just know what she needs to do for the championship. She said that she's aware, thanks to us, the 10th or higher will do her. And right now she's in P4, so she's got a 6th position buffer, shall we say. But yeah, really surprised actually with D'Andrade's qualifying position. See Elizabeth Chan be the first victim in the race of the corkscrew, just getting it wide on the first part of it, trying to keep the momentum going up through downhill into the second.
Sorry, bit of shenanigans. There was a moment there. Gemma Moore went right down the inside of Josie Austin, and just behind, Verena May, Denise Pope, and Alice Horton are all getting involved as well. This is feisty. I thought that Josie was going to get turned around there in that fight. The two at the front though, Ana Luisa Velo chasing after Jessica Martin for the lead. Ava D'Andrade just going down the inside of Alethea Book there. I tell you what, you wouldn't think this was an hour and a half long race, would you, Connell? They're all so feisty straight out of the gate here.
Yeah, well, the gloves are well and truly off now. They know it's the last race this season. What else is there after this? There isn't anything. So it is just trying to get the best position possible. Maybe there's people who haven't won yet, haven't been on the podium, would like to do it, and they only have one chance to do it, and it's here at Laguna. So we're probably going to see the most aggressive racing from these ladies so far this season.
We are indeed. Looking back now from Josie Austin, that advantage by being on pole position has gone completely. Ava's had an issue through the left-hander. Let's have a look. Is it that sausage curb? Oh, wow, it is. That was a big hit. She gets back on the circuit. A little bit of a slide there that she has to control. Down in 11th place now. That's not ideal. But we know that Janetta is quick. Ava and her teammate Seb are both very quick. So they'll certainly climb up the order, I'm sure, as the race goes on. But here's the battle for the lead then. Ana Luisa Velo just chasing down Jessica Martin at the moment, not making too many inroads, but like I was saying before, that Mercedes doing a good job. Josie Austin having to keep an eye on her mirrors for 3rd place. Alice Horton just trying to maintain her pace there as well. And then behind this, Denise Pope is between Verena May and Gemma Moore. It's a little bit spaced out in the midfield, but we've seen this before, haven't we, Connell? The fact that they do get a little bit spaced out in the middle of the pack, and sometimes that's the key moment for them to make sure they get these quick laps in.
Yeah, and the thing with this track is there's a lot of corners, last corner, corkscrew, corner after corkscrew. It's very, very easy, actually, to lose a lot of time, you know, even with a small mistake. It's very costly around here. So we will see this, especially in the early stages of the race, because these ladies are on cold tires, and yeah, it's going to be impressive. I mean, we see, of course, Martin and Luisa Bello already opening up a 4-second gap to championship leader Josie Austin, so that's very significant. But again, they have another stint to go, but they also have their co-drivers who are also varied in pace. So yeah, this race is far from over.
Yes, indeed. Nearly 5 minutes done, but plenty left to do for these drivers, and they cannot let any tiny bit of concentration go. Alice Horton is right behind Josie Austin now. those 4 Aston Martins as the lead has changed. Ana Luisa Belo has taken the lead from Jessica Martin. Let's see if we can go back. We will get 30 seconds of this. No, it was part way round that previous lap. So Ana Luisa Belo, I should say, leading in the Mercedes. Don't think it's the first lap that the Mercedes has led this season, but yeah, still very, very interesting to see. That was, well, I didn't expect the Mercedes to lead this early on, to be honest. Connell, did you?
No. And to be fair, when we're discussing the how should we say, the top half of the grid, or at least the potential race winners, we didn't really have that Mercedes in mind. That's close.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, that wasn't going to work. 3 into 1 does not go, and unfortunately Althea Boot is the unfortunate recipient of a little shunt and a little spin, so that's very, very unfortunate. Hopefully there is no major damage and she can keep going without pit, because another pit stop wouldn't be on the agenda. But yeah, we didn't have Luisa Bello last weekend at Misano really in for a race victory or even on the podium, because it just didn't really show that pace in the first 2 rounds, and then all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, fighting for the podium. And obviously that confidence has grown and grown and grown, and she's carried that momentum forward into this race, taking a lead and starting to open a gap. That just really shows pure confidence.
Does indeed, but the manoeuvre there was by Alice Horton, just trying to go down the inside. She seemed to lose 4 or 5 places in the first part of that lap, and then it just looked like a bit of desperation just down the inside, just thinking, right, I need to get these places back. Made it 3 wide, and unfortunately on the outside of that was Alethea Book, and she was not ready for the contact. There's contact and more. Avi de Andrade and Alana De Potter make contact at turn 1. Alana runs a bit wide. Ava tries to just tuck the nose down the inside of the Ginetta, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bits of contact. And I'm afraid that the one that loses out there is Alana Potter. But McLaren continues on, though. It's a tough beast, is that McLaren. Lauren Jubb's up to 8th place, by the way, in the number 4 570S GT4.
Yeah, a lot of positions to be gained by just staying out of trouble. It can happen so often where you're in a bit of a lonely race, maybe sort of mid-pack, and then all of a sudden you find yourself a couple of positions higher without you having done anything. But here's an interesting one. Alice Horton looking very racy around the outside of the corkscrew. That wasn't going to work, and I don't think it'll ever work. It'll be a very, very impressive pass to get it done around the outside of the corkscrew. But we've seen, of course, in the first 2 races, a pattern forming, really, where we had the top 3 Aston Martins of Martin, Austin and Horton. And it was them in Group 1. We had de Andrade then on her own, sort of lingering in 4th. And then we had the rest of the field. So to see now this mixed grid, Luisa Bella, of course, leading, and Horton having to defend from May and having to attack Pope in the Porsche, it is fantastic to see.
Yeah, definitely. And that is Alice Horton diving down the inside of Denise Pope. Now she's got the inside for the next corner. That's going to have worked well. Later on the brakes, and through she goes. Although she's a bit wide on exit there. So Denise Pope back down the inside in the Porsche. Says thank you very much. Down the inside she goes. Still side by side. It's never ending. At this point, Alice is just saying, just give me a break, just let me through. But Denise is saying, not in your life. Thinking that Verena May is going to get brought into this as well. Fantastic battle going on. They go back up the hill. Now, you say it's impossible at the corkscrew, Connell. I've seen a few people get it done where they get a good run out of here, go on the right-hand side, and then if you go on the outside into the corkscrew, you've then got the inside for the second part of it. But Alice looking for the initial inside line. She gets it as well. Denise Pope out wide. Nice move there by Alice Horton.
Yeah, good awareness by Denise to realise she was past, and instead of fighting it and making contact there, lives to fight another day. Of course, it is the longest race of the more female racers series. Yeah, it's brave to make a pass into corkscrew. Generally in bike racing you have to be one of the greatest of all time. You have to be a Rossi or a Marquez to make a pass like that. But yeah, a couple of these women looking very, very racy, and of course, end of the season, I've said it before, there's nothing to lose after this race. This is it in terms of this championship. So we are seeing these leads go absolutely all out.
We are indeed. This is Denise Pope now trying to just follow on from where Alice Horton is, just to try and get rid of that gap. Lauren Jubb has got to think about the fact that Ava de Andrade is now just behind in the Ginetta. We're on board with the 570S McLaren. One thing I've always noted about the McLarens is, for a V8, I mean, Ferrari have the same thing where, you know, a V8, we all expect a low, beefy, growly V8 that just roars. But the McLarens and Ferraris have always had this sort of, like, droney sort of mid-range noise out of their V8s, haven't they?
Yeah, it's interesting. That's news to me. I wasn't aware they were V8, and simply because they didn't sound like it. Yeah, very, very interesting that. So yeah, I'm under the learn tree with Chaz Dreykov here.
Oh, that looks like Lauren's gone way too deep into the corkscrew. She's gone into the. She's entered the Paris Dakar there. Gets it stopped. The car's almost beached there. The splitter keeping the front wheels off the ground. Nice recovery though. And that now behind is Marion Edwards in the Porsche. She's got a bird's eye view down the hill. It's the fright of her life. It's like Lauren has just seen a truck stopped on the slow lane on the M25 there. It's absolutely slammed on the anchors.
Yeah, we didn't need to see any telemetry there to see that the brakes were on and on hard.
Yeah, that's Alanda De Potter has to get the brakes on hard there as well, just not to clip Marin. But the battle for the lead, by the way, is getting very feisty now. Jessica Martin all over the back of Ana Luisa Belo in that Mercedes, but it's a very wide, beefy car, is that Mercedes, and I'm sure that Anna is going to make sure that it's even wider right now here at Laguna Seca. But this Aston Martin, it's not just a pretty car, as you've seen from the series so far, and as you can see from 4 of the cars in the top 5, it is certainly a fast one. And in the hands of Jessica Martin, it's a ferocious beast. You can see Anna takes an early inside line there. Jessica, good sort of mindset there going into the corkscrew, because what she did was just focus on her own lines. She doesn't adapt her line based on what Anna's doing. She just focuses on the fact that she needs to get the apex exactly how she wants it. And it's doing those little things, isn't it, Connell, just to make sure that you don't lose out if your opponent is defending, that it's going to change the course of this race. But look in the background, Josie Austin, she's closing in.
Yeah, there's a way to defend, and sometimes we see drivers leading, or at least leading a car behind, and they defend to the point where they lose themselves time and just give themselves a lot of work to do, a lot of extra work, unnecessary work. As I think we have Gemma Moore, who was in P4, she's crashed at the corkscrew, so she might have dropped a few positions back as she's down in 9th. So very, very unfortunate for Gemma Moore. She has good pace though, as does Thea. She is in P10 right now, or P9 now, and but she was the 4th quickest on the track. But going back to the defensive point, especially with the Aston Martin behind, we know the speed of the Aston Martin. It is very important for Luisa Bella right now to get her corner exits nailed. As soon as she messes up a corner exit or loses a bit of drive coming out of a corner, especially, say, for instance, the last corner coming on to that, albeit short straight, that'll just give Jessica Martin the first sniff. And really, I think once Jessica Martin gets that sniff of an attack, maybe, I think she'll go for it straight away. Yeah,
we won't see her bow out of a move at all. This is Alethea Book at the moment in 8th position now, getting past Gemma Moore after that incident on the previous lap. But Gemma is now on the hunt. She is looking to gain those places back in the Aston Martin. She was in 4th place. Just listen to that gorgeous growl of the V8 from the Aston over the crest, onto the brakes. Big down changes over the crest of the hill. Chuck the car down to the right. You've almost got to chuck this thing to the right before you can even see the apex curb. You've just got to try and judge it each lap. And as the day goes on, as the lighting changes and the shadows move, it gets harder and harder to judge, because your braking markers and your turn-in points have all changed. Any reference points. Gemma gets, I was going to say a good exit there, but the car over-rotating out the final corner. And she loses a little bit of time to Alethea Book. Half a second now the gap though. Last time they triggered any of the sector beams, it was about 0.6 of a second, and the lead has changed at the front here, Connell. Jessica Martin finally getting past Ana Luisa Belo. Oh, she's gone deep though through the left-hander. This fight is really on.
Yeah, we're getting word from Michael Hamlet. Bella went too deep. Is she going to look up for the inside of the corkscrew? She's thought about it but cannot get it done. Jessica Martin there went a little deep herself and that almost protected her. But yes, Bella went a little too deep at the final corner and that allowed Jessica Martin to go through. So it was exactly what we were saying. Jessica Martin, with the pressure she was putting on Luisa Bello, really did force Luisa Bello into that mistake and capitalised on it. So great driving on behalf of Jessica Martin. Luisa Bellows, of course, at least in this series, it's her first time really experiencing leading from the front, and especially you never forget your first. And I remember the first time leading the way with a car behind or a bike behind. The pressure is immense, and it really is another aspect of the game that you have to get used to.
Yeah, that's it. You know that there's no other cars to focus on in front. Everyone is trying to chase you down, basically. It's you against the entire field at that point. And, you know, some people, they just have the ability to just zone out of stuff like that, and they just cope. And I don't know how they do it, because whenever I'm leading a sim race, which, let me tell you, isn't very often, I just get so nervous about it, and you just think, I've got the chance for a win here, don't bin it, don't bin it, don't bin it, don't bin it, and you end up binning it if you're me. And it just, I don't know, there's just this undescribable extra bit of pressure. Jessica Martin then is closing up on the back of Emma Richards, who is a lap, or will be a lap down in just a moment. P3 and P4 are the fastest on track. Josie Austin was 3 seconds back from Ana Luisa Belo last time they hit a timing sector. Emma Richards tries to get out of the way, but in doing so gets in the way. A little bit of a tap there from Jessica Martin, and Ana Luisa Belo trying to close in. We'll keep an eye out the background. There is Josie Austin. She really wants in on this fight now, Connell, because that first lap where she lost those places was far from ideal. But now, with traffic involved, she's going to get a chance to close in on these front two leaders.
Yeah, and she closed in rapidly whenever Luisa Bello was leading the way. Now that Jessica Martin has taken the lead, the gap has sort of stabilised, although it's only been half a lap. The gap has sort of stabilised, so maybe when Jessica Martin has been released, she's able to up the pace a little bit. But in saying that, Luisa Bello, maybe she's just found a little bit of pace in following Jessica Martin, following a few lines and adapting her lines to suit, because she is really now again on the back of Jessica Martin. Gap to Josie Austin is down to 2.8. It was 5 seconds all but a few laps ago, so Josie Austin has really capitalised on these two battling, and doesn't look like this battle is letting up. Alice Horton is quick too, unfortunately for her, after the bad start in a few instants. 10 seconds back, excuse me, is it 13 seconds back, I believe she was at least over the last split.
Yeah, it's a big difference there for her to make up now. We saw that Alice had some fantastic pace earlier, so she's going to be hoping that she can continue that, and that her co-driver as well can do the same. But yeah, the fight at the front, very interesting. Denise Pope's got Verena May within a second, or she was. Verena May's just made a bit of a mess of that corner there and lost a bit of time, I'm afraid. Ava de Andrade is just in the background in the Ginetta. She was some 4 seconds off these drivers last time round. Let's have a look at what the sector times are now. Yeah, 3.4, so chipping away at that gap, and that's all you can do at this situation, because now the field is spread out a little bit. You've just got to focus on your times, haven't you? At the end of the day, you are against the clock in this race.
Yeah, and if I was Josie Austin right now, I wouldn't be too concerned at the minute. Of course, 10th or higher, no matter what anyone else does, Josie Austin and Team Cake are champions of this More Female Racer series. So you're sitting in third, you've got plenty of a gap behind, and you're closing in on the leader's position right now. For Josie, I would say is very, very good. But of course, we've said it, Sprint Cup, Endurance Cup, whatever, anything can change in a motor race.
Can indeed. All it takes is for a back marker to misjudge something, or the person that you're racing against just to go a little bit deep into a corner or brake a bit earlier than you're expecting, and you can have a race-ending incident. This is Alana Day Potter. She's just on her fastest lap of the race on that previous one. She's catching Lauren Jubb very quickly here. The two McLarens sticking together once again. It seems that every series that we have on the sim grid, if there's just a handful of McLarens, they all seem to stick together on track. So these two proving that very much correct. We were just looking at Tilana Nell and Marin Edwards on the last lap, but Marin Edwards has got through now up into 14th place. There is your confirmation. And now Marin is going chasing after Andy the Lab. And I suppose you could say if Andy got lapped, she'd be a lapdog, as per the name. But Ana Luisa Belo, this is just how far ahead they are though, Connell. I mean, we look at the leaders after looking at, say, like 13th, 14th. They're coming into the same corner. They've got that much consistency and pace at the moment that it's a bit hard for them to get near this top three.
Yeah, and the shorter track will, of course, increase the rate of traffic there, at least how quickly you will catch the traffic. So it'll be interesting to see. This race could, in fact, be determined on these leading pack getting actually through the back markers quickly and efficiently without getting caught up in an incident or any incidents at all, because that could just be so detrimental to your race and certainly would take you out of the lead or the chances of winning this race. But yeah, I mean, Luisa Bello's team, the Mercedes team, really do still have a shot of third in the championship. They are about 23 or 24 from memory serves. I'm going to have to double check. Yeah, so it's very interesting. Of course, the sort of came of age really in Misano with that third place finish. Now they're sitting in second, pushing for that win, and the 10th place really hurt them into Hungaroring. Really hurt their chances. They could even be fighting for second in the championship if they had a better race at the Hungaroring, but ifs and buts don't really count, and they're currently sitting 18 points off the third positions, the Wild Things Racing in that Porsche Cayman. So still all to play for in terms of the rostrum spots in this championship.
Certainly is. We're just watching the two McLarens have a bit of a dance here. Always Lauren Jubb has a bit of a dance over the gravel at the corkscrew there. That won't have been comfortable in the McLaren 570S. Now, these two are the closest two cars on track at the moment. De Andrade is now within a second of Verena May. So the pace in this Ginetta, once again, coming very much of age as the race goes on. We'll go on board with the Ginetta for a second. Listen to the 6-cylinder roar of this thing. It's more of a scream, actually, combined with the very high-pitched gearbox whine as well. It's a great sounding car. Absolutely love this Ginetta. Very interesting wing as well. It doesn't quite look like it fits the car, the rear wing on the Ginetta, but still does the job, and it's the only one in the field. So Ava and her teammate Seb Handler doing a fine job so far this season. We'll stay on board and see how long it takes for Ava to get the move done. And don't forget though, Connell, all it can take is one attempt at a move, and if it goes wrong and you have to sacrifice a lot of momentum, you've got a lot more work to do again after that, and of course you've lost a chunk of time in the race.
Yeah, well, how many times have we seen a battle for the lead between the first and seconds, and for all we know with the way they're driving, third place could end up winning the race. It's just that sort of nature, especially around here. I mean, you have to make a bit of a lunge to make the pass stick around here. It's very difficult to make that pass stick. You have to be quite experienced and good, have plenty of track knowledge. But yeah, we've seen, of course, a couple of great passes already from these ladies, and again shows the improvement, because I mean, I'm touching wood right now, I don't want to jinx things, but very, how should we say, scrappy in the early stages.
Yeah.
At the Nurburgring, but a lot of clean, clinical and professional looking passes being done so far.
Alice Holton's got a 15-second penalty in the Aston Martin. That is not good. She'll be dropped down to at least 8th position as things stand, maybe 9th position. So we'll wait for answers. It's for a collision with the 335 and the 66, so that was down the inside earlier into the left-hander. So yeah, it's to be expected from that. It was a bit of a late dive, and unfortunately it caused issues for two other drivers. Danny Erdman, by the way, we've not really seen much of Danny on our screens, but Danny from Team 2, is soloing this race while also appearing in the Paris-Dakar, it seems. But the Aston Martin with its very garish Fanatec branding and the checkers down the side of it, and again the bright, well, let's call it magenta. He's doing all right at the minute. He started at the back of the grid though, didn't he? So, you know, he's making up the ground. Oh, he's making up nothing there. That was he was making a case for some sort of Apollo mission there, I think. But that was a right whack. Let's just see if we can go back and go. Oh, it doesn't really capture the moment there. I was going to say go on board and see the jump, but it didn't really capture it anyway. So we'll give that a miss. But yeah, I've heard of people launching it at the corkscrew, but that corner beforehand, it's proving quite a launch pad of its own, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks as though Erdmann's practicing for a race at Cadwell Park over the jump. Yeah, and that's the problem with this track. The sausage curbs are very, very difficult. Once you hit them, of course, we just seen, that was a prime example, as we see a problem again for Gemma Moore. Is that a crash? Or is she going into pit lane? She looks like she's trying to dust off her tyres.
Yeah, the steering's going completely left and completely right. There's something very wrong with either her wheel or... We'll go back 30 seconds, see if we can catch it. No, it's already happened at this point, I'm afraid. But
yeah, you're right, Chaz. It does look like some sort of technical problem with the wheel, because that's peculiar, to say the least.
Yeah, that's almost like it won't go straight, will it? That's one of the main things there. Not only is it going 100% left or 100% right, that is not a wheel that is going straight at all. So that's a real shame, that, for Gemma Moore. We've seen some great pace from her, but this race has gone downhill as things have gone on. There is the sorry sight of the Aston Martin in the pits. Josie Austin's got a 5-second penalty, quite interestingly. The penalties are served in the pit lane now, by the way, so it's not end of race penalty. I'll have to have a check on what's happened there. And Ava's had an accident as well here, Connell. They're dropping like flies.
Yeah, well, as what we were saying, this track, it is shorter. Not as much of it to learn, but the stuff that you do have to learn is very, very tricky. These sausage curbs are difficult. Getting into that sand it's like sheet ice at some points of this track. Very, very difficult track to stay consistent on over the course of the race. We've seen a lot of mistakes in qualifying, especially over the corkscrew, and we're seeing it over the course of a race. Very big trouble, and we're getting to near the end of their first stint, so it's unfortunate for some of these ladies. A lot of penalties being picked up, but when we look at the leader, Jessica Martin, once she got past Luisa Bello, she got, after a couple of laps, really opened up that gap. She is now 3.9 seconds ahead of Luisa Bello, and Josie Austin, who did look as though she was closing on the two leaders, now only really in terms of pace looks as though she's maybe has a chance of Luisa Bello, because Jessica Martin is setting a blistering pace.
Yeah, and at the moment as well, that last lap was only 1/10 off Jessica's best, so on absolute fire at the moment is Jessica Martin. And don't forget, as we went into the first round at the Nurburgring, Jessica was one of the picks for the championship. Obviously put the car on pole position, had a nightmare with the pit stop, and obviously didn't change driver, but yeah, from there it's not really got that much better, to be honest. But this win looking possible now.
Yeah, definitely, and again, as you said, championship favourites. Pole position, of course, pole hounds really for the first two rounds, looking really strong in terms of pace, but just couldn't really get it together. Of course, they were leading comfortably at the start of the Nurburgring race, didn't come in the allocated pit window time in Nurburgring, and got a severe penalty for that. In fact, it was a disqualification, I believe it was. So now, hopefully, with almost an hour gone, these ladies are now doing 35 minutes is the 35 minutes is the limit for the pit, your stint, and then a pit stop and a driver swap will have to be done. So hopefully this mad team and Jessica Martin will adhere to the rules this time when they're out in the lead, and not pick up any additional penalties, as we see a lot of women now starting to do their driver swaps. The Andrade, Josie Austin's in there. We've seen Luisa Bello pitting there. So yeah, a lot of women just on the hour mark or just before starting to do their driver swaps. The 5-second penalty for the Josie Austin the Cake team was for use of in-game chat, which is against the rules. So a 5-second penalty. So
was that Elaine Gerber? Yeah, Elaine Gerber's just had a bit of a moment there. Just onto the dust, the car gets unsettled and then goes the other way as well. Is she going to use that as an excuse to go in the pits? I'd imagine so. Just as... she's had an issue on the way in as well by the look of it. Michael's just pointed out as well that Josie Austin's in for quite an early pit stop. There may not be enough time to get the third and final stint done based on the driver swap, but you've got to think that's surely the similar for a lot of these drivers now, as everyone tending to come in just as the hour mark ticks over. Sorry, the first half hour has ticked over. That was almost a complete stop there from Danny Erdman. I think it actually was as well. But yeah, the pit lane is a flurry of activity. Race leader in the pits. So Sheldon Scott Muscat is out there at the moment in the Mercedes. What can Sheldon do? Because we've seen that he's very quick before.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little surprised, to be honest, at Josie Austin's early pit. And it's a great point. Is that enough to get through the third and final stint? What we will expect is that they're going to have to be very, very close to the edge in their second stint to even be close enough for that third stint to get that stint timer or not hit the maximum stint timer. You would think, if you were going for the championship, of course, I don't know reasons why you're in the pit, maybe needed to make that pit stop, but you would think, Chaz, going into your championship deciding race with the penalties for not or adhering to the stint timers being so severe, that you just on the half hour mark each time, or you'd hit the half hour mark and then do maybe another lap, because it is 35 minutes, so there's plenty of leeway on a shorter track.
Yeah, you'd want to play it safe, wouldn't you? You'd want to just be careful and just think, right, let's not overdo this now. Let's not try and play it too safe. Sarah Dove is currently in third position. Sorry, Sarah Dove. And then it's James West in fourth in the number 66 Aston Martin. Gregor Schill in the 335 Porsche. Watch out for him. He is very quick indeed. And as things stand... Just trying to have a quick look now, but Sheldon, Sarah Johnson is now in the lead. Sheldon Scott Muscat not too far behind, but we saw that out of the two as Sarah's gone wide and got off the circuit. I was just about to say that we saw that Jessica Martin was the quicker of the two, and through into the lead goes Sheldon Scott Muscat. That is how quickly it can change, and it's Sarah Savage in the number 25 now. She's going to need a Savage stint, to be fair, to make up for the penalty earlier. Just trying to keep an eye on where is Daniel Austins is there in the 31 machine. There's Niels van der Kokel. Jasmine Akiko is down in 17th place now. What's gone on there? Because it was only a 5-second penalty, wasn't it? Do you think that maybe they've sat in the pit lane just to try and make sure that they don't go over that stint timer? That's very strange, but don't forget, they need 10th place. We almost thought it was guaranteed, but that's a big change up in the championship there, Connell.
Yeah, I said as we were finishing off at Misano that it was pretty much a wrap in terms of the championship when talking to Josie, but that's a little bit of a jinx, maybe. I hope not. But it just shows you when it comes to wanting to wrap up, do you want to wrap up a championship in the penultimate round or the last round? You really want to do it as early as possible, because leaving it to the last round can always drum up some interesting and unusual results. Jack Noller is come back into the pits to serve a drive-through, so I don't quite know.
It was for an incident,
for a collision with the number 3 car, so that is why. So that's very unfortunate for Jack. This team here, the Kiko team, 3-minute and 23-second pit stop. So maybe they were conscious again, as you said, Chaz, conscious of that early pit stop, and decided instead of the severe penalties they get for exceeding the stint timer, would rather take the penalties of being in the pits for an extra length of time. But really risky, because now they're going to have to make up 7 positions. Yeah,
well, don't forget they're 2 laps down on the car ahead, and that's Dominic Goltz in the 888 car, and he is just behind them on track. So they've got a lap to gain on Dominic before they can even gain a position. So this is, you've got to think, almost out of the window now. This is massive for the championship. We've got this battle going on as well. This is Daniel Austin's. Just behind him is Jack Noller, who we just saw, and then Vicky Thompson in the 587 Edison Genius Racing Bulbs car. The Porsche has been a bit inconsistent this season, but Vicky Thompson, I mean, we know from the Endurance Cup that Vicky is very quick, isn't she?
Yeah, we've seen Vicky eat pressure for breakfast. We've heard that phrase quite a lot. Yeah, Vicky's quality driver has been left in some difficult situations with her team in the endurance race. Not through any fault of her team, just in the sense of being left with a lead to defend in the final of a 3-hour race, etc., stuff like that. And she's coped with it brilliantly, and she's definitely a quality driver. But the only thing that is currently helping, if we go back to the discussion about the championship, the only thing that's currently helping Josie Austin and Jasmine Akiko right now is that their nearest championship rival, that is that Ginetta of the MIA Esport team, is currently sitting in 8th place. So they really need to be up further towards the sharper end of the field to win this championship. But Seb Handler has now been, as we see the battle going on here, Seb Handler has now been thrown a lifeline here for this championship. And really, I mean, what's there to lose? This is everything to gain and nothing to lose situation for Seb.
Yeah, that's it. As down the inside, a savage he goes. That was a savage move. I think he wasn't expecting Sarah to break that early there. And this is what I mentioned before, you know, you can never count on what the drivers around you are going to do. So Seb goes through into 7th place, but a 15-second penalty applied to that car. That is for a collision with the number 31 of Daniel Austin's. So that's another little spice up here, but that can be served in the pit stop. So you've just got to think that at the end of it, Ava D'Andrade will gain that time back. But a great little trio here. Sheldon Scott Muscat, though, is now let's just say quite far ahead. I believe the time was about 11 seconds last time he triggered any of the timing beams. We'll just see what it is before we have a look at this battle for 4th place between James West and Gregor Schill. 12.2 seconds. And here is the battle between James West and Gregor Schill. And then behind them, we've got Jens Kaiser in the BMW, and then Dominic Goltz, and then Jasmine Akiko. But Jasmine now is another lap down on those other drivers. So it's going from bad to worse for the 137 Aston Martin, that we went into this meeting pretty much guaranteeing that would be the champion.
Yeah, this is bizarre. I mean, I might actually get in contact with Josie Austin and just inquire about what the situation was, because that's peculiar. Surely, I mean, we didn't see them get into, of course we've seen Josie in a little bit of bother in terms of losing positions, but we didn't see them in massive amounts of bother that required them to pit early. Maybe we have missed something on track that has happened, but I mean, I don't know. This is very, very disappointing for this team that have been just, I mean, Chaz, immaculate is the word to use for the past 3 rounds.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've just got the job done by being consistent and just always being there while their rivals have troubles. We've got a fantastic drive here by Jens Kaiser in the BMW, the very garish bright green machine, as it all checks up into the corkscrew. Don't forget that Jens Kaiser in that BMW and the white Porsche and the silver Aston Martin in this fight, they're a lap down on the pink Aston Martin and the black Porsche here. So this is 2 separate battles going on that we're trying to keep an eye on, and it's all kicking off at once. Flashing his lights is Jens Kaiser. He's saying, get out of my way, but you don't have to. Back down the inside goes Gregor Schill. He says, you get out of the way, mate. Have that. Stick that in your door and smoke it. That was a big hit there in the side. That was quite feisty from Gregor Schill. Look at that. Down the inside. Biff, get out of the way, mate. Then through he goes. Luckily for the BMW, he doesn't actually lose a place, but as you can see, Jens Kaiser not too impressed by that there, flashing the lights once again. We all know it gives you 15 brake horsepower more, so it's no wonder that he's doing that. But the 888 as well, Dominic Goltz, all over the back of the Beamer now. So this is brilliant stuff, and it's 2 fights in 1.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. And this is both a product of this track and GT4 racing. Unfortunately, we weren't broadcasting the GT4 madness last week at Laguna. If you want to get involved, of course, please do visit the SimGrid and go onto our Discord, which is linked down below. Oh my goodness gracious me, Jens Kaiser getting very, was it loosey-goosey? Yeah, so the GT4 and Laguna just seems to be a fantastic combination for close racing.
It does, and this is close racing. Dominic Goltz. Oh, there's contact in front, I think. Gregor Schill's gone straight on over the corkscrew, and now he's got to deal with all this lap traffic again. Dominic Goltz has a bit of a nightmare on the way down the hill. Oh, it's all going a bit haywire here. Jens Kaiser, though, he's got pace in that M4. It's just a shame that it's very equal pace to James West ahead of him. And James West and his teammate Alethea Boog, they've done a great job in this race to get further up the order. I think they qualified just inside the top 10, maybe 9th. No, it was Ava DeAndrade that was 9th, so I think they were just outside the top 10 in the number 66 Aston Martin, but it's all fair. Michael's just said, if nothing changes, and it will, GZR Team Cake are still on course to be champions, because obviously the number 12 having that penalty, that's going to drop them down a lot of places. So we need to keep an eye on this, because while it does seem like all hope is lost for the 137 here of Jasmine Akiko and Josie Austin, it could all change again as it's still switching hands, and just ahead it is as well. This isn't even a fight between two people on track for position. This is a BMW that's a lap down on the Aston. Down the inside it goes. Oh, there's contact.
Oh,
I would have agreed with it if there wasn't contact. Well, oh, there you go. The number 888, Dominic Goltz, goes through as well. Oh, you don't need to defend from that, Aston Martin, James. He should really let them go and just have their own fight, but that's championship leader that he's messing with. He needs to just worry about Gregor Schill in that black Porsche there. The other cars ahead may be a lap down, but he doesn't need to fight them. They clearly have a bit more pace than him. He just needs to let them go. Maybe just tag onto the back of them and not get involved in a scrap. But we know what these lot are like. They just they just want to get all over it. Yeah, Andreas is saying call the stewards, but to be honest, the BMW's not done too much wrong. He's had a bit of a scrap with him, yeah, but we've seen worse this season and it didn't go punished, so we'll have to see. The 79 needs to win and get fastest lap of the race, with the 137 in 17th, and they'll be on equal points.
Oh,
there's
going to be a lot of mathematics going on. Per Michael's going to have about 4 calculators out right now for this live championship updates. But I'm just getting word. I was speaking to Josie there. A strange bug is the cause for their extra long pit stop. Controls were locked after the pit stop was over for a full 2 minutes, and one of our laps didn't count for sure because we're an extra lap down, and they're very confused at the minute. Josie says, oh, it's just rotten luck. And unfortunately, that's just a product of sim racing, really. It does happen from time to time.
It does, and I was going to say, it does seem a bit strange that they were 2 laps down, 3 laps down on the leader, because it was only a 3 minute, well, I say only, but it was 3 minutes 23 in the pits, and it's a minute and a half a lap round here, so I would have thought that was only a lap and a bit, but yeah, 2 entire laps they've lost. So, because you would have thought with the overlap, they would have been a lap down, but still in traffic for the following lap, you know what I mean? As, Jens Kaiser decides to check out the gravel, and yep, it does slow you down, mate, that was very close. But Dominic Goltz going through there, he's still got the 137 of Jasmine Kiko just behind there. And, well, it's just, this race is never ending, but Sebastian Handler will know that now he needs to just get on with this, get the lap times in. We've seen that Seb does it before. He has been in previous races the fastest driver on the track, and one of the most exciting to watch as well. So what he does now could be pivotal for this championship. But don't forget, Sarah Dove in the number 79 car and Denise Pope could still take this championship if they win the race. If something happens to the car ahead, they want a bit less of that. And the number 12 car has to finish P2 to stand any chance of winning the championship if the 137 car finishes. So with that penalty, they've got a lot of work to do even then, haven't they, in this one, Connell?
Yeah, 46 minutes to catch 2 laps, and that's just the next car. That's huge. So I mean, it's just through this championship another curveball, as if we couldn't get any more close action. So, Seb Handler now, I wonder, is he aware of this information? Because Michael is doing the maths. I wonder, is David DeAndrade's teammate currently working off 5 calculators right now to work this out? Because at least that is a tangible target. I mean, it's going to be obviously very difficult, of course, with the 15-second time penalty, but that's not out of the question really to be P2. But then you look at the gaps and you see 0.1 to Gregor Schill. He's he's 14 seconds behind Gregor Schill, who's a 10th off West, as we're watching the battle right now on screen. And then another 18 seconds from Dove to Sarah Johnson, and that is that pivotal P2 spot. So, I mean, that does look like a long way, but I mean, there's only one way to find out. So Seb Handler for sure will be on his absolute limits to try and climb up that order.
Just ahead, that's Sarah Johnson. Sarah Johnson's gone off. There's damage to the front of that Aston Martin. And now that means that Sarah Dove is into second position in the number 79 Porsche. And don't forget, if that car wins the race, they need to get fastest lap and they'll still be on points. This is also for position now. James West on the back of Sarah Johnson here. Gregor Schill just behind as well. This is a 3-car fight for position. There's contact into the left-hander. Somehow Sarah Johnson saves it. James West's going to go around the right-hand side. Gregor Schill's going to go on the left. Look at Gregor in the Porsche. Fantastic stuff. Side by side into the course green. Gregor Schill, take a bow, sunshine. What a move that was. That was wonderful stuff from Gregor Schill.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. Gregor, he's been, or at least his team has been the victim in the Endurance Cup a couple of rounds in a row of some contacts. So he wanted to get through these cars as quick as possible and just set his own base. And we know, of course, the caliber of Gregor Schill. He drives, of course, for the Coach Steve Academy team in the Endurance Cup. If you follow that series, which you should, because it's brilliant. But yeah, Gregor now in the third position. Really, now we'll see. I don't know if Muscat is a tangible target for Gregor. He only has around 15 minutes left in this car before he swaps over, but certainly he has his eyes set on Dove.
Yeah, Sheldon Scott Muscat flying at the moment. I mean, look at where they are. So he's just coming into the final corner. Sarah Dove's just gone around turn 4. So he's got like half a lap over the rest of the field. That's a big, big difference, especially after only 45 minutes of racing. Gregor Schill, third place though, and it's a Mercedes and 2 Porsches in the top 3. So no Aston Martins in the top 3 for the first time this season. James West, Sarah Johnson, Seb Handler. And then we have Brett Madsen, who we haven't seen much of in this race so far. Brett's sitting in 7th position in the number 4 machine, teammate of Lauren Jubb. Doing everything he needs to do at the moment. Sarah Savage just behind there in the number 25 Aston Martin. And Jasmine Akiko has actually lost a place to Niels van der Kokel in that Porsche there. So that car has now dropped to last place in this race, Connell.
Win last. That's a mental. Oh, is that Sarah Johnson?
It is, yeah. Sarah's struggling for pace here.
Jasmine Akiko trying to unlap herself on at least one of the cars. And funny enough, second in the championship, Seb Handler is actually coming up to Jasmine Akiko to lap her. I mean, we did not expect this race could have possibly have gone this way, but we've said it before, we'll say it again, we'll beat it like a dead horse. It is just anything can happen.
It can and it will. This is, like you've just said in the Discord chat, mate, this is a hell of a final round. This has thrown every possibility up in the air of what could go on here, and we still have 41, just under 42 minutes of this race to go. So it's Sheldon Scott Muscat in the Mercedes leads us on to the 32nd lap of this race. Sarah Dove is in second in the Porsche. Gregor Schill third in the Porsche. And it's James West in the very bright pink Aston Martin for Theo Massanti's team. And then it's Sarah Johnson fifth. Sebastian Handler is sixth. You could just hear the Ginetta going past the camera there. There it is. Brett Madsen seventh, with Sarah Savage just behind. Those two are actually the closest 2 cars on track at the moment for position. Ainior Cavion, who we've not seen much of so far this race, in 9th, teammates with Andy the Lab. And then it's Vojta Pavlicek in 10th position, rounding out your top 10. Then Daniel Austin's in 31 in 11th place, teammate of Emma Richards. Then we have Jack Noller recovering from Gemma Moore's accident earlier. Victoria Thompson is 13th in the number 587, teammate of Maren Edwards. And it's Danny Erdmann soloing this race, 14th at the moment. Dominic Galt just behind there for position. And then Jens Kaiser also for position, just behind in the BMW. Then it's Niels van der Kokel in the number 24 Porsche. And Jasmine Akiko, teammate of Josie Austin, bottom of the field. Sarah Johnson. Sarah's really struggling here, isn't she, Connell? There's a few iffy moments here coming from that Aston Martin.
Yeah, struggling a little bit for pace. It's unfortunate for Sarah, but again, she's made mistakes in terms of running wide onto the grass. This could actually be a good thing, obviously not in this race, but long term for Sarah. If she can just be passed, she's just been passed by Jasmine Akiko. She's got Seb Handler behind. Even if she can just hang on to these guys just for 1 or 2 laps or a couple of laps, it will really just bring her on a lot. It really does benefit you to follow the fast drivers and learn from them, and it's sort of a subconscious learning where you tap onto the back of them and they just drag you along to a quick lap, and then your brain just calibrates itself to that sort of speed. So hopefully Sarah can use this opportunity to get in behind Seb Handler if he does make his way through and find some pace.
You say if, it looks more like a case of when at the moment, and there is the when. Seb Handler
Clinical.
makes, he wastes no time in getting that done. Straight down the inside into the right-hander. Nice big cut on the final corner as Jasmine Akiko has a moment just ahead there. And now Seb Handler has gained another position into 5th place. Still that 15-second penalty reigns over them though, hanging over them down the inside of Akiko. And this is the sort of performance we've come to expect from Seb Handler in this championship in that wonderful little Ginetta. It's close again for 2nd place, by the way. Gregor Schill. Sarah Dove cannot win the championship with 2nd place with her teammate Denise Pope. They need a win, and Gregor Schill looks like he's about to come between them and said win here, Connell, as it's Porsche on Porsche as they go up the hill.
Yeah, and realistically, if Gregor is mistake-free, again I say if, but it does, of course, again look like a matter of when. If Gregor is mistake-free after he's released from behind Dove, that will pretty much put pay to Dove's championship challenge, because the only way for the 79 car to win is to win this race. To win the championship, they need to win this race and get the fastest lap. So very difficult. We're doing the math right now to figure out if Akiko and the Cake team finish. Oh no, sorry, there's only 17 drivers at the minute, so a driver has dropped out of this race, so that has actually promoted the Cake team back up to 17th. So once again, Seb Handler and that Ginetta need to finish right where they needed to previously, and that is 2nd place.
Just trying to figure out who it is that we've lost there, because is it Andy Lab's teammate? No, is that Aino Cavion? Yeah, Aino Cavion is Andy Lab's teammate. So who have we lost? Will it say on the timing table? No, it won't. That's very interesting. Who have we lost, Connell? This is the test now, just to see if we can remember every driver and every car in the series, but can't quite think. We've got one Ginetta, one BMW, one Mercedes. We didn't have the KTM here tonight, fortunately for our own retinas. But that's odd, because I didn't immediately see anyone drop out. I didn't notice the actual car disappear there. So, I mean, it's a massive shame. I tell you what, I think it's Danny Erdmann. It's Danny Erdmann. He was soloing this race, but he's gone. Yeah, I was just looking, because I know that for everyone that hasn't used the timing screen, just so they know, when a car disconnects from the race, it stays on the timing screen and it stays in the position that it was at the time. And he was 14th, and I've got 2 14th places on my timing screen. Dominic Goltz, who is now 14th, and Danny Erdmann was 14th at the time of disconnected. So he has stayed there, and that is the clue. So you know, he knew he was going to get a penalty anyway. He wasn't really fighting for much, so fair play to him for getting this far through the race before dropping out at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, more experience gain for him. So, yeah, no, it's unfortunate, but what it's not unfortunate for is Akiko and that Cake team, because again, it forces Handler's cards now, so to speak, where Handler needs to make his way up to second place. Handler's about to jump out of his car, and De Andrade is about to get back into the car, and we've seen De Andrade have a little bit of a struggle so far in this race. But in saying that, we know the quality of De Andrade. We know she can be on her own and just set lap after lap and be consistent. But will that be enough with a 15-second time penalty? Not only does she need to get second, she needs to get second and then extend the gap by a further 15 seconds. So going to be very, very difficult for the number 12 Ginetta to take this championship.
It will be indeed. We're looking at Sarah Savage right now on the back of Sarah Johnson. There's been a couple of penalties given out just now. Vicky Thompson's been given one for the number 36. They were having a collision with them. It's a real shame. And the number 66 car has been given a 5-second penalty for blocking the 137 car as they were trying to unlap themselves. The rule has stated that the blue flag cars are allowed to unlap if they're quicker, but the cars the lap ahead, in some cases here, have been refusing to let them through and blocking them as if they're in a fight. So that is why it's been penalised. And Bolton Ladskaus is saying the 26 is out of the race. I know, mate. I've mentioned that. But thank you. Thank you very much for keeping me in the loop. Like I said, it is a very, very big shame that Danny Erdmann has dropped out, but he was going to get penalised for the fact that he's obviously overdone the stint timer. He would have just single-handedly driven the race. So it is what it is, I'm afraid. It's a good battle here, though. It's the two Sarahs. It's Sarah Savage down the inside of Sarah Johnson, just trying to have a peek on the right-hand side there. Johnson made, I think it was Johnson made contact, or was it Jessica Martin made contact with this number 25 Aston Martin at the Hungaroring earlier in the season. Put the 25 right out of contention, so it's going to be interesting to see whether this fight continues and hopefully doesn't come to contact again. And the time penalties, don't forget everybody, they're served in the pit lane, so during their stop it just extends the length of the pit stop. Sarah Savage at the moment, though, unable to do anything about Sarah Johnson in the mad Aston Martin just ahead. Into the final couple of corners, back onto the brakes. You can see just how much the corner drops away from you there as you go to the right hand side. Sarah Savage just trying to line this up now for a move. She'll want a really good exit out of this final corner, down towards turn 1. She wants a bit of the slipstream as well on the way there. Jasmine Akiko in the pit lane then to change back to Josie Austin. 32 minutes and 25 seconds to go. We've actually got the race leader is flying away with this. Sheldon Scott Muscat in that Mercedes doing an amazing job. These are the two closest cars on track. Sarah Savage looking down the inside again, still not working. Johnson's just putting that car exactly where she needs to. Savage is going to surely try and send it down the inside here. Tucks back into the slipstream. Maybe a last minute dive. No such thing. I say no such thing. We saw exactly that thing earlier on from the same car. Through the left-hander then. So close together as they go up the hill again. Sarah was defending hard there over to the left-hand side. And again into the corkscrew. It's just great stuff. Really great stuff at the moment from Sarah Johnson, showing that she can really defend if necessary from the car behind. Especially when it's another Aston Martin as well, by the look of it. Maybe a bit of beef from earlier in the season. Oh, runs wide onto the gravel and into the pit lane actually. Sarah Johnson now deciding to change back over to Jessica Martin. And is that the race leader? It is. Sheldon Scott Muscat will give up the car now to Ana Luisa Belo, but That's fantastic stuff. Gregor Schill, by the way, what a stint he's had. He is currently sat in 2nd place, and he will be changing back over soon, I imagine, to Verena May. Got Daniel Austin's also in the pit lane. Sheldon Scott Muscat, your race leader in the pits. We'll keep an eye on Schill, see whether he comes in yet. Josie Austin is back out on track, by the way, just behind him there in the 137 Aston Martin. So Josie hoping to make up some ground from the rest of these drivers. We know that Josie put the car on pole position, so showing that she's got the pace over everyone else. What's Gregor going to do? Gregor stays out for another lap, so he's going to continue. Sheldon Scott Muscat has just got going as well. That shows you the gap. So Sheldon might actually only just doesn't retain the lead through the pit stop. It's of course Ana Luisa Belo now in the car. Sorry about that. But Anna just showing us there that they're only in 2nd place by a couple of seconds, maybe 3rd after leaving the pit lane, but yeah, only a couple of seconds off 2nd place after the pit stop. So they're actually going to be side by side as Anna comes out the pit lane now. Just getting in front is Sarah Dove. And now is Anna going to be able to get that place back straight away. This is the interesting part of the race now, though. They've had their co-drivers, which we've seen in some places can be quicker, but it's back to the first drivers now, Connell.
Yeah, and we've seen the pace patterns forming in the first stint, but it can be very, very different. It's not just going to be the exact same order as we seen in the first stint, because it can be very, very different. Now, certain drivers may have been put in a position where they have to push to make up positions or have to maintain leads. And yeah, it's a very different dynamic for these drivers, having not obviously started from a rolling start, having been started mid-race. These ladies who are currently who will be doing it, will actually, this will be their first time leaving pit lane in one of these series mid-race and trying to get dialed in that way. So they always started the races on the prior 3 races, so it's going to be an interesting dynamic, and again, more experience for these ladies to have.
Definitely, and keep an eye on Jessica Martin on the left hand side of your screen. You can see all the drivers that have completed their pit stops now have the green square next to their names. We have 2nd, 3rd and 4th all in the pit lane. Seb Handler will be serving that 15-second penalty, but Jessica Martin, who has been starting these races for MAD, is definitely one of the quickest drivers in the field, and consistently is the quickest driver in the field in the ladies that have obviously done the 1st and 3rd stints in this race. So keep an eye out. Josie Austin is 22.8 seconds behind Elizabeth Chan, but they were obviously on similar laps. There's 2-3 laps now between 15th and 16th, so unfortunately all Josie can do at this point is just push this car around as fast as she can and hope for the best. Ana Luisa Belo leads this race then in the Mercedes. We may very well see a Mercedes win here, which will be great. Sarah Dove still in the pit lane, just leaving now. Gregor Schill is going to be leaving very soon as well, although something has happened to Gregor Schill and that 335 Porsche, because as I said before, I explained the issue with the timing screen. When a car disconnects, you can see Josie Austin is now up to 16th because I think the 335 is disconnected. And I'm having that same issue I had before where there's 2 cars showing in 2nd place. And Gregor and that 335 car with Verena May, I'm sorry, it has to be said, is definitely out of this race.
Yeah, Charles, the broadcast time screen does not actually show the 335 car in the race at all, so that is very, very unfortunate. Probably going to be their best run of the season, or at least they were up to their best position so far throughout the season. They've had 11th, 8th and 11th in this series.
Elaine Gerber just checking the sturdiness of those tyre barriers for a second there. On the exit. Yeah, definitely. It bounced off and she carries on, but she's just come out the pits as well, so that's not an ideal start to her first lap out. But she's still just getting, like you said, just getting used to the fact that she's coming out of the pit lane for the first time this season, partway through a race, because she's been the starting driver so far. Oh, Verena May had a game crash when she got into the car. So it's just, again, technical issues. It's one of those things, isn't it? We attribute it to mechanical failures with the car or other sorts of mechanical issues, but that's a real shame. Ava de Andrade now is in P4, and there behind them is Josie Austin in the 137 car. That is going to be the fight for the championship, and Ava needs to get ahead of Alethea Book and Denise Pope to win the championship. If they get P2 and Josie stays where she is in P16, that Ginetta, unbelievably, it's sneaked under my radar, but that Ginetta will win the championship. And let's face it, Connell, they've been exciting to watch, but yeah, they've not won races or, you know, really sort of dominated in any other way, really, have they? But again, it just comes down to that consistency.
Yeah, they could win this championship without having actually won a race, which is if you ever need an emphasis on the point of consistency along a series or a championship, this is it. To be in the championship hunt, needing 2 positions, it's going to be very, very difficult, though. Denise Pope is setting a solid pace, but Josie Austin now in 15th. If
16th. It's just changed over again.
16th, sorry.
That was strange. That just changed over one way then the other. Is that? I know that Tilana Nell has had connection issues before. There's been quite a high ping from Tilana's car, so maybe it just didn't pick her up on the like the sector time. Oh, there's an issue there as well at my end, I think. No, that's not at my end. That's, I think, the server maybe. Did you see that as well, Connell?
I seen a little movement, yeah. But I think it was the Sarah Savage car. Actually, Chaz, that disconnected.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is. Michael confirmed it in chat. Yeah, I seen the Savage car just drop behind Josie Austin and then disappear.
That's a shame.
So Verena May is back in the car.
Right then. So that'll be that then. Apologies everybody for the confusion, but Josie Austin now does go up to 15th place. So if Josie finishes 14th, I believe, because of the points difference, they would be champion. Yes, guaranteed champion if they finish 14th. So, that number 12, Ginetta, if they finish P2, it still doesn't matter, because if Josie can get that car up to 15th, and there is the change. Literally happens right there in the leader. Ana Luisa Belo gets into the back of Tilana Nell as well. But Josie has just overtaken the BMW Tilana Nell. So now, believe it or not, somehow, that car is now back into a championship winning position, and what a way for Josie to sort of get into the mind now of Ava de Andrade, because she is right behind her on track as well. So this has been a true great ending to this championship, and well, it's not even over yet, is it, Connell?
This is what we call a head melter, because I mean, we just had an instance there, Josie Austin getting up to 14th championship guaranteed, but then we almost have the leader crashing into the tyre wall, and you would suspect having to pit for repairs or at least lose a lot of pace. So then de Andrade could have even jumped the leader and taken the lead of this race if Luisa Bello fell into difficulty. So this is just what a climax. 22 minutes to go and we still don't know how this championship is gonna go. We've 15-second penalty, that is for Martin in the 36 car. That is for a collision with the number 137, that is the Josie Austin Team Cake championship leading and champion elect car. So this is really going down to the wire. A few mistakes could cause someone a championship loss or a championship win. That is how close we are cutting it. This is really on a knife edge right now.
It's got more twists than that terrible candle making factory I went to in primary school. It's absolutely amazing final round of the season, and Lauren Jubb is up to 5th place, by the way, in this McLaren. Fantastic stuff for them. And Denise Pope doing a good job in 2nd, and to be honest, I'm quite happy to see that Mercedes out front as well. I'm a big fan of that car. I do love the AMG GT. Down the inside of the BMW goes Lauren Jubb, just putting a lap there on Tilana Nell. But Josie Austin showing some good pace now. She's got quite a while ahead to the next car of Elizabeth Chan. 15 seconds, 21 minutes of the race to go. But at the moment, she can just nurse that car home as things stand. So, 2.1 seconds between Andy Lab and Alana Day Potter. There is the McLaren just at the top of his shot. So the Aston Martin chasing down the other British machine just ahead. There seems to be a British invasion in the middle of the field there, because we've got the Aston Martin, the Ginetta, McLaren, Astons, and then it's just the 3 Porsches, the German machinery, chasing them down, and then of course the 2 German cars at the front of the field. Anyone that follows the SimGrid on Facebook will have seen my very sarcastic "don't mention the war" comment on the caption competition from last week, where we had Seb Handler 3 wide with, I believe it was Gregor Schill and Sheldon Scott Muscat, but the 2 German cars were way over on the east, and the British little Ginetta, the plucky Ginetta, was using all of its wit while on the grass to sneak around them. But the less we go into that, the better, I think. However, what a fantastic race we've been given so far, Connell. This, honestly, we're probably just going to keep reiterating this for the last 20 minutes, but rightly so, as Emma Richards and Team Vikings are into the top 10.
Yeah, great performance from Emma. Of course, Emma is one of the drivers that was significantly off, I think is the correct way to put it, earlier on in the season, and has really come to form. Obviously not pushing for wins, but in terms of her improvement, one of the biggest improvers throughout this series. And good on you, Emma. You're driving fantastically now. You look a lot cleaner than you were at Nurburgring, a lot smoother and taking a lot better lines. And you just look like a much better racer, so good on you.
And that really has been one of the themes of the series, hasn't it? That, I mean, a lot of the ladies in the championship didn't have any experience of the set of Corsa Competizione or sim racing at all before this series came about. And it's just been great to see that development, and the unpredictability again. Something I just have to highlight. It's been phenomenal. And that, at the side of the road, was a Porsche. Is that Verena May? It is. Verena May has had another issue, I think. Software related, maybe. And that Porsche, I'm afraid, is going nowhere. It's going to get very warm out there on the beach, on the exit of the left-hander, but it's just how it goes sometimes, I'm afraid. Here's your race leader, chasing down championship leader Josie Austin. But Ana Luisa Belo, what a fantastic performance she's put in, and to be honest, one of the most underrated drivers in the series, I have to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's fair to say that we didn't think of her, to be honest, in terms when we were talking about potential race winners, even potential podiums, up until the last 2 races. Misano, she just exploded onto the scene, really, and then even saying that, she was pushing for the podium, not pushing for the win. She was nowhere near the race win. Then we hit this round, pushing for pole position, pushing the race leader, who's had incredible pace, Jessica Martin. Yes, she lost out in that battle in the first stint. Now here she is controlling the lead from the front, and this is probably the most rapid improvement that we've seen, because we see drivers obviously improving by like 5 seconds lap, etc. The further you go up the grid, the harder it is to make that time improvement. So you go from looking for multiple seconds to looking for a second to looking for tenths. The higher up you go, that is the sort of structure of chasing time. So for Luisa Bello to go from mid-pack, shall we say, to controlling a race lead is phenomenal.
Really is. And this final race has so far just been a display of how good that Mercedes can be. Jessica Martin is back in the Aston Martin and back up to 6th place. Sarah Johnson was in the car before and dropped down to 7th or 8th position. And we've lost Verena May from the race as well, by the look of it, I'm afraid. Yeah, Verena May has dropped out of the race. That's a real shame, that, as Jessica Martin becomes very acquainted with that curb there. That was a right moment. And yes, Robert, that is the same Andy the Lab that's streaming in the Aston Martin there into turn 1. Gemma Moore back out on track, and to be honest, after the issues that Aston Martin had before, as Jack Noller was behind the wheel as well earlier, that's a good effort, that, to be honest, to be inside the top 10 still.
Yeah, a lot of issues for that team. And I don't know, Charles, is it the Californian heat that is really causing all these technical issues? Because we've seen to have had a lot of technical issues in comparison to the other races. It's unusual, but it's totally unfortunately, it's totally out of control of these drivers, and it's just part and parcel of sim racing. I think we've all experienced it at some point or other.
Yeah, that's it. I think that it's easy for some of these drivers to overdo it sometimes, and especially when you're trying to prove a point as well. You know, when you're trying to show that you've improved, as Gemma Moore, there you go, pushes a little bit too hard, I think, and just makes a tiny mistake. It's easy to do down the hill. It's just oh no, actually, sorry, I was just looking at my timing screen. I thought that she'd just dropped it on the brakes herself, but she went into the back of Tilana Nell, who again slammed on the brakes there. So trying to avoid the M4 is like trying to drive around the outside of a housing estate in comparison to the Aston Martin. But she did everything she needs to do in terms of the first few rounds, did Gemma Moore, but I'm afraid at this point not so much has gone right in this one. And Jack Noller, you know, he put everything into perspective earlier when he tried to recover their race, and he did it, but it's all about the teamwork here, and it's not easy to get right lap after lap, is it, mate?
No, especially with those nasty sausage carbs. I know I had a bit of a stinker last week, last Thursday in the GT4 Madness. Just struggling a little bit for consistency around Laguna, and it's easy done. It's obviously one of the shortest, if not the shortest, it and Brands really are the shortest tracks on the SEC calendar. And both of those tracks, again, you think shorter, easy to learn, easier to stay consistent. No, you have to be on time attack mode really every single corner and every lap, because it is such a short lap. A couple of tenths here and there makes a huge difference.
And now we have take two of this. Gemma Moore trying to put a lap on Tilana Nell. Tilana, oh, there you go, have it again. Gemma not really. The thing is, when you're trying to lap a car in front, I mean, no disrespect here to Gemma, but you need to be ready to adapt to what the car in front is going to do. It's clear that at this point, Tilana not too confident in the BMW, and Gemma, there you go, around the outside very convincingly, but you need to just adapt your lines, get ready for a bit of early braking, a bit of sort of erratic braking. Treat it like, I'm not saying that Tilana Nell is one by any stretch of the imagination, but try and treat it like a learner driver on a public road. You know, we all sort of drive a bit more carefully behind them and get ready for it, don't we? And they all warn us with the things on their liveries. But yeah, it's just one of those things in racing, I suppose. You've got to get ready for it. Ana Lucia Belo, though, doing a great job at the moment, leading this race. A long way ahead of Denise Pope, Alethea Book, up to third place as well. And this is, oh, well, there you go, third and a bit by the look of it. But Alethea Book, third at the moment on the road. But there is the, that's the difference. Almost a lap to third. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's very impressive from Luisa Bello. And, of course, I have to give a shout-out to Sheldon Scott Muscat for driving a stellar stint as well. But at the end of the day, Luisa Bello, she has driven 2 stints, or well, 2.5 so far, or 1.5 so far, excuse me. And she's about to complete her second stint with 12 minutes to go. So she has lobbied most of the driving and all the heavy load she has taken on. And just, I can't get over Luisa Bello's improvement. I'm very happy to see someone who was not considered earlier on in the season for a race win to be up there controlling the lead. It's great to see, and it's exactly what this series is all about.
Definitely is, definitely, mate. And the number 66, to be fair, Alethea Book will be happy with that as well, to be getting a podium out of this as things stand. 11 and 3/4 minutes to go in the race. Ava de Andrade, you could just hear the Ginetta there. 4th place overall, just at the top of the shot. It's very close down the straight once again, and this is the thing, Ana Luisa Bello needs to be careful here, and I know that Josie Austin will be careful as well in making sure that she doesn't make contact. Down the inside goes Anna. no real fight there from Alethea Book, and no need to. You know, when you're being lapped, you may as well make it easy for the race leader and anyone that's coming through to lap you. Be interesting to see how she reacts to Josie Austin coming through, though, because Josie is a lap down on her, and she will be trying to unlap herself now.
Yeah, and Josie now in that position, in that championship winning position, 14th, guaranteed for that victory. She just needs to take her time. She doesn't even need to really, in a way, go past. But sometimes when you back off the throttle, when you drop your pace, that's when you start making mistakes. So it might be good for her just to keep that pace going. But in saying that, with the drama that she's had and that team itself has had this race, they might have a little eye to just staying behind Tia. Of course, Tia is no slouch either in third, sitting third currently. So might just have a wee eye on just sitting behind Tia for these last 10 minutes and bringing it home.
Just looking at the moment, this is just trying to look down the timing screen and see if we've got anyone a bit closer. We've got 13th and 14th are at the moment, well, they were last time around. Josie Austin has actually got ahead of Elizabeth Chan. We just saw that on that lap. But yeah, it's the moment now where this field has really spread out here, and a lot of the drivers just need to retain their consistency. And when you're doing lap after lap, overtaking lap traffic and meeting all of these drivers on circuit at different strategies and different parts of their race, I suppose the strategies aren't that different, but you know what I mean, they're at different stages of their race. You've just got to be so careful and not really force the issue, haven't you?
Yeah, it does come down to that risk management. I mean, if I'm stuck behind the car in front and I've got a 15-second gap behind me with 10 minutes to go, do I really need those 0.3 of a second that by making the pass earlier? Do I need that half a second or even a second? Not really. So if you can just take your time and pick your way through, that would be the better option in terms of the overall outlook. Of course, sometimes the red mist does descend and the just general racing aggressiveness takes over, and you want to make that pass as quickly as possible to keep your rhythm up. But at some point in time, you got to think of risk management. I've said it before, not really for the other driver, because realistically, if we're all being honest, we don't really care about the other driver, but for your own selfish reasons out on that racetrack, it's much better to lose a couple of tenths here and there being stuck behind than to lose 30 seconds in the pits.
Yeah, definitely, or lose 15-20 seconds because of an incident that you've then got to try and recover from. It's all a bit of a balancing act, isn't it, to be honest, in terms of what you want to put into your race, how hard you're going to push over the course of the race. It's not easy to get right, so fair play to the drivers involved here, because a lot of them, they may not have even been in a sprint race scenario before, never mind a longer race like this one, and that extra half hour in this race really does make such a difference. We've got some 5-second penalties being given out at the moment. 5-second penalty for the 888 is for a collision with the number 12 car, and the 560 car for a collision with the aforementioned 888 car. So it goes around, comes around, I suppose. But just been looking at Josie Austin here, 13th overall now, on their way to a championship with 7 minutes to go, and only just on their way to a championship because Ava de Andrade is 4th in this race with 9 seconds to Alethea Book just ahead, but I don't think there's much chance, unless there's an incident, for that to really change now in this race, Connell.
Yeah, I think pace-wise, if instant free and without that unfortunate bug, I think we'd be talking about Josie Austin and Jasmine Akiko up, say, second or third. But of course, that can't be guaranteed. We don't know how a race differs in these other universes that we talk about, these hypothetical universes. But pace-wise, you definitely have them in second or third, and we'd be talking about a pretty much guaranteed championship, barring anything going wrong. But they really did give themselves some real nervy moments at the start. Unfortunately, that bug, just no fault of their own, no mistake. At least if it is your mistake and you then recover, you can get a learning experience out of it, but it was just an unfortunate bug where their controls were locked. So, yeah, that's not great. To see your hard work almost disappear from you is not great. It would have been interesting actually to see the battle between that leading Mercedes and that Cake team to see could Akiko versus Muscat be a deciding factor in this race for the victory. But I mean, 3 wins and obviously a disappointing result on the surface for the Cake team in 13th if it stays that way. Disappointing result on the surface, but 3 wins and then the championship the next round. That's a pretty successful season.
Oh yeah, 75% win rating is not too bad at all. Fastest lap of the race so far has actually been posted by the 316 machine. Not sure whether it was Andy that posted that time or her teammate. However, still, that car on for the bonus points of getting that fastest lap, and that's another thing, isn't it, really, in this championship that really sort of nails home your intentions, because if you can set the fastest lap in a race and not win the thing, it sort of shows people that maybe come the next round you could be one to really worry about. Obviously, I know there's no more rounds in this one. It was Ainor Cavion that set the fastest lap, but going into the next season, it's just that little inkling of look at us, look how quick we are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you've hit the nail on the head there. The fast lap just shows potential, doesn't it? If you don't win the race, or you didn't have a sniff of the race, but you set the fastest lap, that shows the potential that you have. You do have that pace over 1 lap. You just need to string it together over the course of a race distance, and it's much easier to make a fast but erratic driver smooth. It's a little bit more difficult. Well, it takes a bit more time to make a slower driver quicker. So yeah, when we see some of these ladies posting fast lap times and then making a lot of mistakes while having that potential, and you think, well, they really should be doing a little better. That's okay. That shows that there is potential there, and it'll only take a couple of clicks that'll happen relatively subconsciously or just after a bit of time, and they will be up at the sharp end over the entire duration of a race.
Well, it's been a fantastic job by all the teams so far this season in making sure that they have that consistency that we've spoken about over each race. And quite frankly, I can't wait to see if we get another series of this, that the level will now be stepped up even further. We've got Robert Moses asking how many of these people are new to racing entirely. I'm not sure on the exact number, but a lot of the grid hadn't done any sim racing before this. Either that or they hadn't had any experience with the Assetto Corsa Competizione, which is just a testament to how well they've done to get on with it. And the racing, in most cases, Connell, I think we could say that the racing has been similar to that we've seen from people that have been doing this for years. As Gemma Moore, speaking of, down the inside of Alana Day Potter and the McLaren.
Yeah, the racing itself has been great, of course. We're well used to that with the SimGrid series, but it's also got progressively cleaner, and the moves have been more intelligent, I think is the right way to put it. A lot of people thinking about their passes now a lot more than what they were doing at the Nurburgring, and again, just experience. We're seeing some quality action. Yes, we've seen a few instances when we see, obviously, on the left-hand side in the time screen, time penalties. But, I mean, we see time penalties in the Pro Sprint Cup and the World Cup even, which is the pinnacle, really, of SEC sim drivers. So mistakes do happen and incidents do happen. We haven't seen, I don't think, Chaz, anything massively egregious in this series, and that's great. We see a lot of sportsmanship. We see a lot of sporting drivers. There we go. There's the right way to put it. We see it. Maybe the viewers at home don't necessarily see it in terms of Discord, but we see it in the more female racers Discord chat. A lot of support for each other, and a lot of help from the co-drivers as well. So it's great to see this supported so well, this series supported so well internally and both externally. We've had great viewing figures and great chat, great people in chat for the duration, really, of this series, all 4 rounds. So thank you, everyone, for giving it a watch and support. And don't forget, please do leave a like if you enjoy this content. And once again, thank you for your support.
Nicely said, mate. Nicely said, Connell. But I agree totally. You know, we've had a lot of fun with this series so far, and long may it continue. It's been great to see. The support's been mega from everyone watching and from the drivers, and, you know, the co-drivers getting involved. Now, we've got a 5-second penalty for our race leader here, which maybe was the contact with the 66 when they were lapping them earlier.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
It was. Michael's just said to me that is correct. Yeah, it was. It was a hard hit to say the least. But this is now the final lap, and to be honest, I think that it's worth giving Ana Luisa Belo and of course Sheldon Scott Muscat, her teammate in the Pro Simtech GT Omega car, all of the airtime they deserve for this win, because they have driven off from the rest of the field throughout most of this race, and it's been a real phenomenal performance from them. We were expecting. I mean, I certainly was, after Josie Austin stuck it on pole. I was expecting them to take the 100% win record here, but we are not going to see that now, that's for sure, because they are a couple of laps down on the leaders. It's just ahead, I think, Elaine Gerber, just checking that there is still some sand in that gravel trap there, through the left-hander. But, you know, she's still out there, still putting the lap times in as the race leader comes up to lap her. Almost. Whoa, that was a sketchy moment for the final lap of the race. That's not quite what Ana Luisa Velo would have wanted there. She would have wanted a nice chilled run to the end, but Elaine Gerber making sure that she's still on her toes there. Down the hill one more time, through the long left-hander. Nice late apex. Surely going to go down the inside of Elaine Gerber here, through the right. Elaine says no. You want to fight? I'll give you a fight to the end. Oh my god, that's really testing your luck, that is. Oh, it's like playing Crash Bandicoot, this. Oh my god. Ana Luisa Belo out the final corner takes an absolutely phenomenal win in the More Female Races series, and crossing the line, they may be laps down, but Josie Austin and GZR Cake Racing and Jasmine Akiko take the championship. Fantastic stuff. And what a twist and turn they had. And we've got an entire lap to wait for Denise Pope to get through. Alethea Book takes 3rd place. Jessica Martin is going to cross the line. Or is she going to cross the line 4th? It's a drag race with Ava Andrade. Andrade just makes it in the end and takes 4th on the final lap. Not even a 10th of a second between them. Gemma Moore is still chasing down Alana De Potter, who has got ahead on this final lap as well. Let's see if this resolves itself. Honestly, that was like play. Oh, the flares are going off, and I think Gemma Moore got distracted. She thought, oh, pretty colours, brilliant stuff. Nope, not a chance. Alana De Potter crosses the line, 6th place. That was fantastic from the McLaren. Gemma Moore just behind. Verena May sat in the pit lane, so not much to look at the moment. Denise Pope is going to be the final car to cross the line. And wow. Well... Where do we start, Connell? Where do we start, mate?
I don't know. Of course, a fantastic performance by Luisa Bello. It'll be interesting to see, because before this race started, championship standing, 2nd in the championship was that number 12 car. They finished 4th. 3rd in the championship was that number 79 car. They finished 2nd, and the number 22 car finished they're 4th in the championship, and of course they finished 1st. So it'll be interesting to see how that has changed championship stands, if at all, between 2nd, 3rd and 4th. And you'd have to say, I mean, this Luisa Bello, Sheldon Scott Muscat combination, boy, that disastrous result, that 10th place at the Hungaroring, they could have been in that fight for the championship.
They really could. You're right. It was on the cards if they didn't have that poor round, I'm afraid, but yeah, it's a real shame, that is. This is Josie now doing some burnouts and donuts and things. Oh, don't hit it against the wall, Josie. Well, to be fair, she's got a long wait for another season yet, so she doesn't worry about it. Smack it to the wall, stuff it. Who cares? The car's done well as the season's gone on. What a brilliant performance by that team, though. They can be very, very pleased with it, and rightly so. You know, doing all of the donuts in the world. Do as many as you want. But yeah, the season comes to a close, and that was pretty incredible, to be honest. A real twisty round to finish this off. And I mean, to win the championship with the 12th place finish, they actually overtook Elaine Gerber on that final lap. But to win the championship by finishing 12th. I don't think we've seen that in any sort of motorsport for a very long time, have we?
Yeah, I'm trying to remind myself. I'm going through the record books of MotoGP at the minute in my head, trying to think of the last time that's happened. I think we might be going back as far as 2000 or maybe 1999. Was it Krivia? I'm mentioning names that no one really knows or cares about, so that'll be one for my own.
Oh, I know Krivia. I know that name.
But yeah, it is a rare occurrence. Normally we see a championship leader have that sort of dominance over the course of a season to be up at the sharp end, but it's not completely out of the ordinary. It has happened before and has happened again, so absolutely phenomenal from that Cake team. They haven't really had to deal with adversity too much from the first 3 rounds, but boy, did they get all sorts of adversity bundled up into one race this race, and they dealt with it brilliantly. They stayed composed, and it was unfortunate. It was something that was out of their control, but they dealt with it, and they're the rightful winners of this championship.
I'm going to buy him a cake. It was all-female team winning the More Female Races series powered by the SimGrid. You could not ask for more in terms of that. That's a fantastic achievement for the pair of them, and we will have a word with them in just a moment. But wow, that was pretty special, that was. If you just give us 2 seconds, then we'll just run a quick couple of adverts for you, and then we will get the interviews for these drivers underway. So bear with us 2 seconds and we'll be right back. There you go then. So the SimGrid partnered with Coach Dave Academy and of course Thrustmaster, who are supporting the SimGrid World Cup. But it's just a little bit of time now, just to calm down slightly, Connell. After that one, we'll get some of the drivers in for an interview and have a quick chat. We've got plenty of them lining up to have a chat with us. And I think it's probably worth, I mean, out of all people that we should speak to first, Josie Austin joins us in the chat. Josie, you couldn't ask for more there, really. That was exciting all the way through. You had the extra challenge thrown in with the issue in the pit stop, but wow, did you expect after that issue to still win the championship there? Because that was unbelievable.
Well, I said that we would finish P11 a week ago, and I was only one position wrong. So, I mean, I gave you what you wanted. But in all seriousness, we were like ripping our hair out after what just happened. We have some theories about what happened, but essentially, yeah, we lost 2 minutes of race time, and possibly one of our laps didn't count because we were 3 laps back. And from then on, we were like in the midst of the traffic, not fighting on the lead lap, and we just had to make sure that, like, if we were blocking someone, to try and let them out of the way or try and get past people that were laps ahead that were slower than us, you know, which is a new experience for us in this. And
yeah, I was going to say,
I got to make several passes for position, but wow, that was really hectic, and I'm super stressed right now.
Well, you get the fact that you are champions, and the fact that, you know, you can now chill out and not worry about it because you've got the job done. And as has been said as well, it's the fact that it's an all-female team winning the More Female Races series, and that makes it even more special, doesn't it? Really.
Absolutely, and I need to say a gigantic thank you to my teammate Jasmine, because we had all sorts of trouble, like during our first stint after the pit, during her stint as well. And she handled it expertly. We kept cool together, and that absolutely makes the difference. She's been an amazing teacher. She's given me so much lap time in ACC. Like, I had racing chops before this a little bit, but not on ACC, and it's because of the amazing, like, teaching that she's been giving me that I've managed to get this performance out.
Well, nicely said. It's been great to see these partnerships build up as well over the course of the season, and the theme of it has been, and it always will be for me, the improvement of some of the drivers in the field. It's been great, even just over the 4 rounds that we've had. There's been noticeable improvement from all of you, so it's been great to watch, Josie. Congratulations from us here at the Sim Grid. I have said that I'm going to buy you guys a cake, hence the team name and so on.
Oh my
so
God.
we may sort that out. I'm not sure. I'll speak to Michael and we'll go through all that. But and I mean it. I'm not kidding. It might be a bit expensive to get it shipped over to Jasmine in Japan, but it is what it is. But yeah, very well done from us here. And obviously, before we let you go and round out the season, do you want to give a shout out to anybody?
There are so many people. Firstly, all of you guys who are organising this, running this and broadcasting this, for your amazing coverage all the way through. Absolutely fantastic. I've been watching everything back. You guys are killer. I want to say some big thanks to some folks back at Cake, the Cake clan that I come from, particularly Shogun and the Man, if they're watching. I want to say thanks to my wife Wendy, who is. I just said thank you for being so supportive. She heard her name and she jumped. So, and if he's watching, also thanks to George. You're cool. Right. Yeah. Whoa. Don't worry. Maybe I won. She just found out that we won. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you so much, everybody, for working hard on this championship. Cheers.
Not a problem, Josie. Well, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Cheers. Smashing stuff there. Josie Austin, your new champion, teammate with Jasmine Akiko. And next up then, we will bring in, we have 2 drivers to bring in at the same time here. The 2 teammates, Verena May and Gregor Schill. Verena, we'll start with you. That didn't quite go to plan there. It was a real shame. What was the main cause of the issue, do you know?
Right when I hopped in the car and was ready to go, the game crashed. I got a black screen, and yeah, that's actually the first time it happened to me before, and it was a very unfortunate time.
I was going to say, out of all rounds as well, the final one where everybody's really trying to make an impression, for that to happen, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth. But you know, it's technology at the end of the day, isn't it? We all rely on it a lot, and I think in these cases we tend to attribute that to, say, like a mechanical issue with the car or something like that, you know, that doesn't usually get simulated. How have you found this season so far, though? I mean, what's been your highlights of it, and how do you feel if there was another series of this?
I love this series. It was amazing. You know, when Thea invited me to participate in this championship, I wanted to, but I was like, oh, you know, do I have time? Can I work around it? And but I committed to it, and especially having a co-driver like Gregor just give me tips on what I need to do. It's very different from being on a real track, which I'm used to, and just taking his notes and coaching every week and trying to execute on everything. So basically, I think you had like 2 days of coaching and practice to learn a new track and then go to the race. But this week it was, I think we had 3 days. We started a bit early. I committed to it, did a lot of practice, and I went into it. So I hope that there are more opportunities for all of us females and other females to race together, because it's been amazing.
It really has, and it's been great to watch and be a part of the broadcast as well, because there's never been a shortage of action, and as I keep saying to everybody, and I will keep saying, the development of you drivers over this season has been brilliant. It's really been exciting. So very well done on that, and it's a shame obviously that it didn't quite go your way this time, but hopefully it does next time we see you out on track. Gregor, just coming to you, mate. It seems to have been a very exciting championship for you as well, because you know, having the variable pace between drivers and having the driver swaps, there always seemed like there was someone for you to battle on track. How have you found it?
Yeah, definitely. I enjoyed it really much. You know, on some races I had started a little bit, from behind, and then like today, starting more in front, and then catching P3, P2. Was really fun and was also very clean. I had good fun. And like, I think I even did my best overtake today. Like, we went 3 wide into the corkscrew. I just could overtake.
Yeah, we caught that one on stream for you as well, mate. So you can go back and laugh your head off at that one. But that was, I mean, it's moments like that that make or break a race. And we've seen obviously you guys have had tough luck in previous races. If you were to go into another season of this, is there anything in particular that you try and change?
Not really. I think I like this kind of series because you had like a driver which you have to teach, in this case Verena, and was every time nice to see her improvements and give her some advices, because sometimes like at like a professional level, when you drive in SRO and stuff like that, you sometimes forget where you literally come from, because like maybe 1 or 2 years ago you were a beginner on your own, and it's like nice to come back to the roots and give like some tips which you learned over the years.
Yeah, it's been great to see that as well, definitely. Verena, just before we let you go, do you want to give a shout out to anybody while you're on stream?
Yeah, first of all, Thea, for inviting me to this championship and bringing all the women all over the world together. And it's been exciting. It's been an amazing time for me just to learn with Gregor. Shout out to Gregor, who's been an awesome coach as well. And, I hope this continues.
Smashing. And Gregor, any thanks from you, mate?
Yeah, definitely thanks to the admins, which did an amazing job, with the pairing, that they took so much time into it, made the pairings exciting, that the races always, there's something to watch. And always thanks to Thea for organizing or bringing this idea, which was really cool. Something new, something fresh into the scene. And also I'm really, really proud of having Verena as a driver on my side. Her improvement was incredible. We started like with 10 seconds off pace of my side to me, and then at Laguna she was like only 2 to 3 seconds, so like 7 seconds of improvement, which is really, really nice to see.
Yeah, it is, definitely. And like I said, it's been something we've had our eye on over the course of the season, and again we reiterate just how impressive that is. But very well done to the pair of you. Thank you for joining us in the box, and well done on your results this season, and hopefully we'll see you next time round.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hope so.
Bye bye.
Great to speak to Gregor and Verena there. Next up then, we will have, let's bring in Lauren Jubb and Brett Madsen, one of the few teams to take to the McLaren this season. Lauren, just starting with you here, that was a bit of a topsy-turvy race compared to some of the previous results that we've had here. How did you find that one?
It was good. It was a little bit gutting towards the end, because I don't know if you noticed, but we had to take an extra pit stop. For some reason, when we came in for our last pit stop, the fuel didn't add.
No.
So rather than running out of fuel, we had to make a last dash pit stop again. So coming out where we did, actually did really well.
Yeah, I was going to say the end result didn't seem too badly affected by it, but still, there was a lot of drivers out of place compared to where we'd seen before, which always makes this interesting. How did you find the racing overall on track? Did you find it too much of a challenge at points, or did you think there was a good balance of it sort of being how would I say it, in terms of like being a bit forgiving at times, or was it quite ruthless?
I did think there was a good balance. It just got harder this week, I think, as well, because a lot of the girls have got a lot closer to each other.
Yeah.
So compared to like the first few weeks we were racing, we're all super close now, which puts the pressure on. It doesn't matter which girl's in front or behind you now, you kind of always think that there's a chance, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think it's well balanced. I think everyone was fair on track, and I think there was some really good racing as well.
Yeah, there was. It was great to watch from the broadcast perspective as well. I mean, I'm not sure if you've been watching any of the streams back, but there's never really a shortage of action from any point. Brett, just coming to you, mate. That was again, like I say, a bit of that was a very different race to what we've seen previously. Do you reckon that the length of time with the race being longer was to blame for that? Not blame, but you know what I mean. Was that attributed to it?
Absolutely. I think it definitely came into play, and I think Lauren did an absolutely amazing job with handling it. She was on point. She was focused. She was getting those lap times in, and unfortunately, as she mentioned, we did run into that devastating fuel issue at the end there, which took us away from 6th place, but we still managed to come away with the top 10, which I'm really, really happy with Lauren about. She did an absolutely amazing job bringing it home, and I mean, honestly, I couldn't be happier with her progress in the series. Coming from, we started this since I took over last event. We were in last place, and we've moved our way up to 16th in the points in the championship. So I'm really, really proud of the way she's come in the past two races.
Well, it's been very exciting to see the development from our side of things, that's for sure. And the broadcasts have reflected just how good the racing's been as well. Lauren, just coming back to you, in terms of having another season of this, are you going to be, well, can we expect to see you on track and fighting for more results in that?
Yeah, I'd love to do another series. I feel like this series, even though I started off so new, like I had 3 weeks of sim experience before I started the series, that was it. So coming in so new, I feel like if there was another series, I'd definitely be in a better place to compete much better and compete much higher and be able to see where I went. So I'd love to do another series. I'm absolutely hooked now into sim racing. I just want to carry on. I want to find the next thing to do.
It's very addictive, isn't it? It's great to see. But before we let you go though, Lauren, do you want to give a shout out to anybody while you're on stream?
Just to my boyfriend Elliot, because he's had to put up with me shouting at it and shouting at him and doing lots of laps. And also a big shout out to Dan, who has helped with other drivers as well as his own driver. So obviously he's helped go laps round with everyone and just do the extra bit of training. And obviously to Taya, because without her, I feel like this wouldn't have really started.
Fair play. And any final thanks from you as well, Brett?
Yeah, just thanks to Taya as well as the SimGrid for putting this on and inviting me in. I know Lauren had a bit of a rough start with the previous co-driver that was moved out and I was switched in for. So I'm happy to be able to bring out the best in Lauren and get her up into a top 10 finish, and hopefully we see some first place finishes from her in the future.
Cracking. Well, great to speak to you both. Very well done this season, and we hope to see you next time round.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Right then, we have one more interview, and he's been waiting very patiently, and I know that he's absolutely dying for an interview. Eventual race winner, teammate of race winner as well, Sheldon Scott Muscat joins us. Sheldon, you must be over the moon with that, to drag the Mercedes across the line. Finally, someone that isn't driving an Aston Martin to take the race win.
Yeah, hi, good evening all. Yeah, Anna did an incredible job keeping that Mercedes on track. I mean, we were like a lap... we finished a lap. And she showed a great consistency as well.
Yeah.
Can you guys, I think, my mic?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's all good, mate.
Okay, good. Yes, I was like saying we communicated perfectly with each other. I mean, she did an incredible job tonight.
Well, it was certainly a feisty race compared to some of the others. Obviously, with it being a bit longer as well, we saw a lot more lap traffic, and there was a lot more to think about around here than some of the other circuits, wasn't there?
Yeah, you are right there. But in my stint, I didn't like defend anyone like Misano, like I did at Misano, like me and Sepp Handler, and then Rob Taplin joined us. So it was like that race was very good. I mean, they did an incredible job as well, like giving me space, you know.
Yeah, it's been a very exciting championship. To be fair, for only having 4 rounds, we've crammed a lot of action into it. So it's been very, very much fun to watch. Have you enjoyed taking part, and can we expect to see you in it if there's another season?
Yes, very exciting. Of course, I will join if there is season 2. I would like to thank you, of course, guys, the SimGrid, for organizing this event. I mean, it was perfectly organized. I would like to thank my sponsor, GT Omega, HyperX, Gaming Malta, Student Motorsport, and I would like to say hello to Justin and Adrian from here.
Oh, Student Motorsport. I'm not sponsored or very close with them, but yeah, I know of a lot of Student Motorsport from other sims that I've been in as well, so nice to hear that they're in a couple of these. Great to speak to you though, Sheldon. Thank you very much for joining us. Well done on getting the win today. You really did deserve it in that one, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one, buddy.
Thank you. Have a good evening, guys.
And
good night. Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate. And there we go then. So one more final interview then. Thea joins us in chat, and thank you for waiting so long there. We had quite a lot of people to speak to this time, but that was a much better result for you that time round. You must be really pleased with that one.
Yes, I am actually. We've had a few minor incidents, which I'm not going to be talking about now, but but yeah, it was a blast, and I think we both enjoyed it, my co-driver and I, and it was actually really good to be in the waiting room because everyone was in really high spirits. So I feel like everyone's absolutely enjoyed that race.
Yeah, it was I was just saying to the other drivers that we've interviewed as well that it was a very different result to what we've seen before, and the length of the race maybe playing most of the part in that. Some technical difficulties for certain drivers as well, notably our eventual championship winners, having a 3-minute pit stop with technical difficulties there. It was there was a lot of twists and turns to it, weren't there, really?
There were, yeah. And I think that Laguna Seca is not the easiest track, but I think all the girls have pushed themselves to the max to be really competitive, because they thought, oh my god, this is the last race, it's coming to an end, I need to yeah. And I think it's been absolutely awesome, so thank you guys as well for doing all the commenting. I can't wait to get off my seat and go and watch the race again with your commentating.
Smashing, no problem. It's been very enjoyable to do. It's really been a lot of fun. Michael's been giving us countless bits of information in the background. He's been absolutely on it. I dare know what his keyboard looks like right now. It's probably on fire and falling apart because he's always giving us info. We do, however, have the announcement for the 3D Wrap Pikes gear shifter, don't we?
We do, yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Guillaume Castro, you are the lucky winner tonight. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Guillaume Castro. So there you go. You have got yourself a 3D Wrap Pikes gear shifter. And don't forget, everybody, that at the end of next week, we will announce the winners of the 3D Wrap handbrake. No, wait, sorry. I've got this the wrong way around, haven't I? The big one is the rig itself by V-Rig that you can win if you vote. So make sure that once the vote opens on our social media, if you follow the SimGrid, you can vote on your favourite action from the race, and by voting you get entered into the draw to win the SimRig by V-Rig. And it's a hell of a prize, really, isn't it, Thea? It's a great bit of kit.
It is. I have tried it myself in 2 different positions. You can adjust it in 3 different positions. I've tried the GT and also Formula 1, and it's really immersive. It's absolutely awesome. But you were correct. There is still a 3D Wrap prize to win next week.
So we got both.
Yeah.
Smashing. Well, for anyone that hasn't seen the rigs that V-Rig do look them up, because they have got some incredible looking pieces of equipment. And that's the thing, isn't it, with sim rigs, really? Just to get a little bit nerdy about it for a moment, Thea. They're not always the prettiest of things, are they, these sim rigs? Because they're very functional and they always have a similar look about them. But the V-Rig, it's a very aggressive and exciting looking piece of machinery, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it looks a bit like a Lamborghini. I can't remember the name of it, but it makes me think of it, the front of it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's very angular. So Michael's actually just posted some links in the chat for you all. Thea, let us just say thank you as well for getting involved in sorting this season out, because it's been a joy to broadcast and fantastic fun to commentate on. Is there any particular highlights that you'd like to bring up?
Ooh, no, I just want to say thank you to all the girls that I've asked to join this and who had absolutely no experience whatsoever in ACC. So I think you've spoken to Verena, for example, she's one of them. Lauren as well had no experience, and they accepted to come on, and having made such a progress, it's made my day. So thank you for that. Thank you to all the girls that participated.
Brilliant stuff. Well, great to speak to you again, Thea. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Well done on your results, and we'll hopefully speak to you again very, very soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. Well, there we go then, Connell. That is the season closed out right there, mate. And, well, final words from you. I don't really know what to say yet.
Yeah, it's a strange feeling. I'm quite sad that the season is over. Obviously, going into the season, with it being the first sort of series of this nature in ACC, it's very difficult to know what to expect. But I think pleasantly surprised all around, in terms of obviously the organisation, the racing itself, the participation, the enthusiasm, the support externally from viewers and everyone in chat. Yeah, everything I think was just fantastic, and to see newcomers get this platform, which is very intimidating to come into sim race, not just a new game, but sim racing in general. And I mean, sim racing is male dominated at the minute, so I was talking pre-series, pre the start of the series, just doing some interviews with some of the ladies, and some of them were saying, yeah, I wouldn't be racing online if it wasn't for the series. So this is a really great platform, and to see some ladies really struggling at the start of the season, way off the pace, now to be competitive and fighting for positions, like even just making passes against other drivers. Just I know what that feels like. I've been through that myself, of making your first pass or your first top 10, etc., and that rush is something that feels absolutely amazing, and I'm glad that these women got the platform to be able to experience it. So yeah, thank you SimGrid for having me on broadcast. Thank you Chaz for being my broadcast partner throughout.
No problem.
And yeah, just absolutely fantastic series.
It really has been. And one more person I'd like to just bring in very quickly. I think he knows this is coming. Michael Hamlet has been giving us all of the information behind the scenes, as he does every single broadcast that I'm on. Michael, what a championship, mate. It's been amazing, hasn't it?
It's been stellar. It's been amazing. I'm really so thrilled to see how it's turned out. The viewership's been great, the driving's been great, and the improvement. That was the main thing that I wanted to see, being the organizer. Really wanted to see how these women would improve as the series goes on. And I mean, it's really noticeable. It's fantastic. We pointed it out during qualifying. A couple of them were like 9, 10, 11 seconds off the pace at Nurburgring, which it's a tricky track to start at. Nurburgring, it's by far and it's a long lap, so there are places where you can lose time, but either way, to get that down from 9, 10, 11 seconds off to 2, 3 seconds here at Laguna,
that's been phenomenal. Yeah. Really has been. Well, thank you as always for all of your information behind the scenes, mate. Thank you to the SimGrid as a whole for putting this all together. Thanks to Thea Masanti for her fantastic work in getting this organised. It's been a joy to commentate, as always, with Connell Courtney. My name is Chaz Draycott. This has been the SimGrid and the More Females Racers series, powered by the SimGrid. Thank you very much, everybody that's joined us this season, and we hope to see you again very, very soon. Have a great evening.